Hospital Port as pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order. Welcome to HPANWO TV and welcome to this. Reply to comments 56. It's the 56th video in which I reply to your comments. Yes, it is. Now, you may think it's a little bit early for a comments reply video. I try to do them every 3 weeks to a month. It's actually just over 2 weeks since the last one. I'd normally be thinking about doing one sometime next week. But the thing is, I'm going away on Friday. I'm going away to the Weird Weekend North, and I won't be back until Monday evening, and I just want to get it out of the way. I want to get this out of the way, because next week, you know, I've got other things to do next week. I want to do other... For example, some of you may be wondering, what about the They Live watch party, Ben? You've only done the introduction. I know. That's going to have to wait, unfortunately, because of my trip to Weird Weekend North. But I haven't forgotten. I will do the review of They Live. And then we'll do the live stream. But the live stream will have to be probably next weekend, which means I've got to do the review sometime between this weekend, when I'll be away, and I won't be able to do any videos, apart from the one I'm recording, which I then, of course, have to edit and upload. And the following weekend, when, well, basically, sometime between next weekend and the weekend after, I would have to do a comments reply video anyway, otherwise they get too long. For this reason, the They Live watch party will not continue until next week. Sorry about that, but it'll be Tuesday at the latest next week. There's only one Ben, only one HPANWO TV, and I've got, I'm going to Weird Weekend North. Mind you, the Weird Weekend North is going to be great. It'll be worth waiting for. I am going to do a reportage. I'm not speaking this time, so I can relax and just put my feet up and enjoy it. I'm going for both days this time. And so that'll be great fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it enormously. So with that out of the way, let's get on with it, shall we? This is a video in which I reply to your comments. It's the 56th one, and basically it does what it says on the label. I don't have time to reply to comments by texts because I get so many of them, but I feel obliged to reply because you guys, you viewers, I really appreciate you. You watch the videos, you give me feedback, and I really do like that. So what I do is I do these comments reply videos instead of replying by text because it takes less time. Now you might think, well, that's not good enough because the video, it's a long video. My comments reply to videos tend to be very long. In fact, some of them are the longest videos I've ever done. I got one that's like 9 hours. And you might think, I only want to reply to one comment. I'm not going to watch a 9-hour video just to wait for that. Well, guess what? You don't have to. For two reasons. Firstly, I used to do comments reply videos every 2 months or so. I now do them, like I say, every 3 to 4 weeks. So they're a lot shorter than they used to be. None of them are 9 hours now. They tend to be, between 2 and 4 hours. This one will probably be shorter than the average one because I'm doing it after like 2.5 weeks. Secondly, under every comment I reply to, when I reply to it, I put a timestamp. So, for example, I'm going to put this comment in reply to the comments I want to reply to. Thanks for your comment. It will be answered approximately within the first hour of the upcoming comments reply video. And then it'll be second hour, third hour, fourth hour when those come along. Now, so the longest you're going to have to watch is for just an hour to get a reply to the comment you want. Put it on the background when you're washing up. Just listen to the audio if you like. I know a lot of people who download them and rip the audio and just listen to that because it's it's just me, my pretty face on the camera. That's, you can live without that, can't you? Oh, by the way, I'm using my spare webcam again. It's poor quality, but there's no flickering. I have a new webcam in the post, so I'll be testing that sometime next week. In fact, I might test it on the live stream, or I might test it on the They Live live stream. Yeah. So that's why I'm using my spare again. So sorry, but it's not such a good quality one. But hopefully the microphone's loud enough now. I did a test of it, and it was back to normal. It doesn't seem to be a problem with the hardware. I've just updated OBS, and I can see by the audio input capture volume bar that it is actually higher than it was last time. People complaining because it's too low last time. Well, I just said, I don't know why that was. You just have to put your volume up. So, another reason I do these comments reply videos is because I enjoy them. I just enjoy doing them. What's more, you viewers seem to like them. I know some of you watch them all the way through. You don't just follow the timestamps. You just watch them all the way through. So let us go to the first comment that was left after the last comments reply video, and as per tradition, it is on the last comments reply video. Reply to comments 55, part 1 of 2. David Splendid Isolation says, thanks, Ben. You're welcome, David. And we have what's this? Roadhog 360. Oh, I've got like a timestamp here. This is on the same video. You know, I suppose I look mean because I'm sort of bald and I'm quite large and muscular. So I look mean, but I'm actually... All right, here we go. This is Roadhog 360. I thought I was going to get an insult from that comment. Really, though? This says Roadhog 360. Other thumbnails, it looks like you're just chatting away, and in that one, you're staring directly into my soul. Edit, Facebook outage emergency live stream is kind of funny too. Oh, well, Roadhog, I'm glad you found that funny. Maybe I was staring directly in your soul because I wanted to tell you to slow down, you know, and get your tyres checked and all the other things you Roadhogs don't do. But I'm glad you enjoyed the emergency live stream, though, definitely. One or two again, Gary Robinson. Evening, Ben, mate. Pride and dignity, destiny's all. It is indeed. You know, that's. I do believe in destiny. Thanks, Gary. Hope you're all right. Hope things are all right in Mexico. Part 1 of 2. Woody Black. When did RDH call you a shill? Was it in one of his videos? I haven't seen that one. Woody Black. I'm kind of kidding. It's kind of a joke. Richard D. Hall has not actually called me a shill. It's just I'm making a joke because the thing is he seems to think almost everybody's a shill. It's literally him and Andrew Johnson against the world. You know, it's the bad guys, and it's the bad guys in the deep state, whatever you want to call them, and it's all those other fake truthers, and he's against them all. He's a lone voice crying in the wilderness. So he didn't actually call me a shill, Woody. It's just kind of a joke about his manner. Wag the Dog Watch Party live stream, Tommy Time Television. Can I call you TTT for short? He says on this, just found out about the first comment competition. Where did I come? Oh, well, it looks like you got in there first, Triple T. Your prize is, I'll blow you a kiss. Mwah! There you go. That's better than any other prize, isn't it? Right. Oh, we have a. This is reply to comments 55, part 1 of 2. Oh, it's a thread. The first thread. Israel Diego Rivera Genius 2, the real genius, says something about it's probably the British Bigfoot. No. He says the volume is low on your video. I know, Diego Rivera, I know. It's a problem that's I wasn't sure exactly what the cause was. I could have restarted the computer and just gone from there. But to be honest, I just couldn't be bothered. I couldn't be bothered. Simple as that. Look, I'm not making Star Wars. It's a vlog. Put the volume up if you don't like it. And Jamno72 said, no, it's not. The volume is low on your speakers or headphones. Just turn up your volume. Thanks, Soul Sister. Diego, no, the volume is low in the video. And Jamno says, okay, I apologise. So it is. It is, yes, it is actually the volume on my microphone or on whatever recording software I was using, the OBS. However, turning up your volume is a solution to that. Charles from Project Camelot. Hello, Charles. Says to Jamno72. I blame it on being 50. I'm deaf anyway. Oh, you saw Jackie's birthday video, didn't you? I hope you had a nice birthday, Jackie. Jamno72 says to Charles, speak up, for fuck's sake. What was that? Charles says, he said their headphones are too small, I think. David Smith says to Charles, if he wants a bigger headstone, he should bloody pay for it. Charles says, I don't think he was stoned on their headboards. Wonderful banters. Wonderful. My sides. Honestly, my sides. Right, we've got reply to comments 55, part 2 of 2. Dark Corners UK. Yes, I've got a few of those as well. First, take that, Charles from Project Camelot. Oh, he got in there first. Mwah! You get your kiss. Jamno72 laughs. Charles says, just you wait. Better get some insurance for that organic garden. Yeah, you're in big trouble. You got an organic garden and I haven't. Yeah. Good job he doesn't play golf, eh, Charles? Here we are, 2 of 2 again. Jam 972 second. Take that, Charles. Well done, Jackie. Soul sister, you got in there. Charles, don't. Jam Noise wave laughs. Charles says, nice set of golf clubs you have there. Shame if something would have happened to them. Oh, yeah, it's Are you going to take it from this hamburger with legs, Charles? Jamno says, I don't have any golf clubs. I have a few baseball bats, though. I think baseball bats are more Charles's scene, really, aren't they? And Charles says, he laughs, if it isn't personally signed by the Red Sox, it has no right to call itself a baseball bat. Only, Charles, I thought it was Henry Kissinger who had to sign yours. Wasn't it, you know? Hugo Rune says on 1 of 2, Kiev War street fighting. Oh, it's a YouTube video. Lex Luthor reports.
So on this bridge is a good view of the skyline.
Sorry, Les Luthor. Les Luthor. What's this?
Of the city. There was no smoke in the air.
Yep.
There are no fighter jets.
All right, I get the idea. This is a video. I won't play all of this. It's a video from someone called Les Luthor. Reports from Ukraine, Kiev, March the 9th, no sign of war. Yep. This is something I've noticed this as well. And in fact, I did cover this on my interview with Nick Holliström, Ukraine Breaking the Silence, and my live stream on this subject. Basically, if you turn on the BBC or a similar mainstream media and you just click the tab about Ukraine, you will be fed a load of fiction. The lies are, wag the dog. I did say wag the dog was a slight exaggeration, but believe me, the exaggeration is only slight. That's why I covered that particular video in the last watch party, that particular movie. That's why it was trending on Twitter, because people understand this. Because people are watching alternative media. I watched Coach Red Pill. Coach Red Pill said the same. He lives there. He lives in Kharkiv, and he actually took a trip to Kiev to see what was going on. And literally, the electricity's on, the gas is on, the internet's running, phones are on. Normally when there's an invasion like this, they tend to the invading army will tend to smash those things up. Indeed, in Iraq, of course, the British and American bombardment targeted things like power stations, waterworks, things like that. They cut communications lines and things like that. This is what more people actually died in Iraq since the 1991 war from the effects of losing electricity, water, and things like that than died in actual fighting. So yeah, we're being lied to. From what I've seen, the Russians have already achieved, I think, much of their objectives. They captured the Chernobyl nuclear disaster site. They've captured the biolabs. I think most of them have been. I know they've got about 3 or 4 of them. I think there's about half a dozen left. They've also captured this place. Michael Salah was talking about it. What's it called? It's this big history. I'll just go to my history. Hang on. Okay, Salah. No, I don't know. This could. Oh, I don't know if this is true actually. Okay. I'll find it on Google Maps. But this is very important. Here we go. In a moment when I get there, I'll go to screen capture. Ukraine. Here we go. Where is that place? I was having trouble finding it. There we are, Kherson, that's it. It's on the River Dnieper. Hang on, let's get this up. Okay, we're looking for Kherson. This place here. It's on the River Dnieper near the estuary. It's a very big, wide river that runs all the way, right way across. It cuts Ukraine in half, goes up into here into Belarus and Russia. But the important bit here is Kherson. Now, if you look at the city of Kherson, if you look to the east, if you look to the east of Kherson, you come across this. This is Oleshki Sands National Nature Park. Now, this is a strange location. It's kind of a microclimate area in the middle of Ukraine, which is it's much warmer and much more arid than the rest of the country. And what the reasons for that, I don't know. But you see here, this just like it's a kind of desert scrubland. Here we go. I'll just get you a street view there. You see, it's kind of like it's an arid kind of semi-desert scrubland. And according to Dr. Michael Saller, there's actually a UFO buried under there, and that's what the Russians have captured this area, and that's what they're after. Now, I don't know if that's true, but he's one of his high-level contacts has talked into this. I must say, Michael Saller, I know people take the mickey out of him, but I think he's pretty good. I think he's hot on information. He got all that stuff about the Hawaiian missile alert. He got all that right. Definitely something. It could be something as esoteric as that. But it's now been in the news actually that there is actually some. It's not a ceasefire, but the Russians are pulling back a little bit, and that could be because they've achieved their mission objectives, whatever that is. Basically, they have hamstrung and hogtied the Ukrainian regime by capturing the facilities and the infrastructure that they wanted to use for false flag attacks. That appears to be been their objective, and they've achieved it. So hopefully I'm hoping, fingers crossed it may be over soon. 2 of 2, Kerry Woolley says, symbolism and plasma. Interesting, Ben. All right. Thanks, Kerry. Glad you liked it. The plasma, I think, may have been referring to nuclear fusion. I did a video about that. And symbolism, well, I'm always going on about that, anyway. 1 of 2, Hugo Rune. Ukrainian women are no different than any other nationality women. Women are women, whatever nation. Sadly for me, back in 1992, I was only there for a few weeks before my accident. I never got the chance to get to know them in my normal manner. All right, well, I know you these things. That's a shame, now, Hugo. But you had your Japanese girlfriend, haven't you? You things like that. So that's nice. That's nice. 2 of 2. Why didn't the Russians say anything? It's a big club and you ain't in it, says Kerry. Well, I cover that actually, Kerry, in my several videos I've done about Russia and the Ukraine situation, which is on my channel. Now, it's a big club, you ain't in it is a quote from George Carlin, who was an excellent satirical comedian. Sadly no longer with us. But what is it you say they didn't say anything about? Because Russia, today's Russian Federation, was never intended to be created. The deep state, as long ago as 1977, in the Rockefeller Foundation, decided that the Cold War would end within about 10 years. And indeed it did. But the original plan was to convert the USSR into something more like modern China. In other words, the regime would be there, but it would be watered down from what it was previously. That didn't work. It didn't work out. Gorbachev's big plan failed. So perhaps you could be more specific on what you mean. You haven't put a timestamp there, so I don't know what you mean exactly. Marky Boy says underneath, in reply to that, the UK media still gives us no reason from him as to why he went in. We get mentally ill, physically ill, madman excuses, but no real dialogue. Yeah, don't forget pure evil, Marky. There's pictures of him with Nazi uniforms and a Hitler tash on and stuff like that, yeah. But the propaganda is all on the Russian side and not ours, apparently. All I know is we are not being told the truth, as normal. Cynical? Me? Never. Marky. It's to believe you're being told the truth is just hopelessly naive. Some people still believe it, but yeah, the propaganda. You're right about the propaganda. In fact, everything you need to know is in the fact that they have attempted to stifle alternative sides of the story. Banning RT is simply and pure and simple because they want to propagandise the British population. Ofcom, cancelling RT's licence because they don't want you hearing the other side of the story. Of course, you can hear the other side of the story. as I've explained, just use a VPN. Most people aren't going to bother. 2 of 2, Diego Rivera. Will they ever come clean with the fake moon landings? I think possibly within. I think when the last of the astronauts are gone, and more other secrets are exposed, I think they will. Yeah, I think something as big as the faking the moon landings could only come as part of a more systemic revelation. So it'll probably be part of a general unveiling to do with UFOs, 9/11, something like that. It'll probably all come out together. I can't see how they can actually admit that the moon landings were fake. Yeah, but 9/11 was real and there are no aliens. You know, it's all systemic. I mean, if you read the Roswell trilogy, my books, shameless plug, it's a fictional scenario about how that actually works. 2 of 2, Lemsip says here, I never provide evidence, citation, proof to skeptics online because they are rigid in their thinking and only want to throw it back at you. It depends on the skeptic, Lemsip. Some are, yeah. In fact, quite a lot of them are. I'm in a debate with another one now. This guy called Musketeer. He sometimes posts comments actually on my YouTube, but he's been posting in the blogger comments, and I invited him to the HPANWO forum. But because he's really going hammer and tongs, so that should be fun. I never provide evidence, citation, proof to skeptics online. Yeah, because they're rigid in their thinking, only want to throw it back at you. Some of them are, yeah. So I reply with, you're online, so why don't you look it up yourself? Good answer, Lemseb. I think the reason some of them don't look it up themselves and they keep demanding these things is they want to keep you busy. Some of them, I think, are literally just trying to keep you active debating them so you're not doing something else. So your answer is very good. You're online, so why don't you look it up yourself? Good idea. I'll have to remember that. Some of them are literally just simply trying to waste your time. So that's. It depends, though. Some skeptics are more honest, I must say. There are some that are more honest. There's some that I can get on with. I've got skeptic friends, as the saying goes. So how can I be a skepticist? Yeah. Lebsip carries on. Or this is another alternative. Alternatively, quote, I'm not writing an official report, so don't need to give citations, unquote. Yep, that's another good one. I've got to remember these. In fact, Musketeer might he's probably left a comment on YouTube, so I'll have a chance to demonstrate that now. It's called obsessive debunking disorder, according to Thomas Sheridan. Yeah, that's a good one. I know a lot of people who suffer from that condition, believe me, lots of them. 2 of 2, Lemsip. So true about the shadow banning, leading to unwanted videos. After watching Wag the Dog review and the live watch party ended, there was a documentary video about Jackie Kennedy and her sister before she was married. Yeah, that's related, isn't it? That's a related subject. You want to put something on about Wag the Dog, and the next video on the line they send you is something official. I've noticed that too, Lemsip. They do the same to me. Oh, do you remember the good old days? I was reminiscing actually with Rid Michaelis on Twitter. We were just because both of us have been on YouTube since the sort of mid 2000s, and when it first started, it's like it was just so fun in the old days. Do you remember Red Phantom? What a character he was. And there was that guy. There was that argument between the posh English guy and that American bloke who was an IRA supporter. He was sitting there. I don't know. He's like this American bloke, and he has an IRA uniform on. I think he's from Boston or something, where all the paddies live, or New York. New York City is another one. And he was going on about how wonderful the IRA was, and this British guy was going, "Fuck you, and fuck you again." And there was a real to and fro between them, and nobody cared. They just let them get on with it because they're two grown men. This is adults are capable of doing these things. It's just because they keep us in this. This is the Illuminati. It's basically they kind of keep us in this kind of neotenized state, where we never grow up. They want us to be like these little Peter Pans who have to be carried around and fed and watered and arse wiped for our whole lives. They don't let us grow up. Oh, so yeah, YouTube in those days didn't moderate at all. They shouldn't. They didn't moderate at all. They just let people say what they wanted, so long as you don't break the law. They let you say whatever you wanted. You can't. The laws. You can't threaten people. You can't incite crimes, things like that. There are laws against that sort of thing, and YouTube. As long as you obey those laws, that you know, there's no call for. They didn't moderate at all, and that's that bloody how it should be. But who cares? I mean, we've got old tech now. We don't need you, YouTube. We've got Odyssey, we've got BitChute, we've got Gab, we've got Minds, we've got Getter. The list goes on and on. They're everywhere. Anyway, Lemsip continues. I could be watching a video, but go into the kitchen away from my computer to do something while listening to the last 10 minutes of it, and then it rolls into a completely different video. If you're watching a video on the Republic channel, for example, and it comes to an end, the next video will be an official royal documentary and try to brainwash you again. Yeah, the Lemsip, I advise you not to click the option of not having automatic... What's the term? I've got mine deselected. What's it called? Autoplay, yeah. Keep autoplay selected off. And as long as you do that, then the video will just finish and it'll stop. I don't expect another video from the same channel, but I don't want woke or official videos such as Good Morning on ITV. The only time this doesn't happen is when I save a video to a playlist and go to that playlist to watch it, and then at the end another video from the playlist comes up instead of an unrelated one from my feed. Good, that's another good idea, Lemsip. Yeah, create playlists for all your favourite things. I think there are people getting videos from the same channels in their feeds, no matter what they watch. Even people with the most conservative viewing history and playlists are probably getting woke videos in their feed. I can believe it. I do. I do, certainly. I'm pretty much a centrist, really. But I get left-wing stuff all the time fed to me. It is literally like being in like the machine in the the machine stops where it's just things open and things just come out to you. Ugh, yeah. One of two, Jam Noise 72. Don't say get a room, bro. Don't encourage Charles. Not Charles. Lol. All right. Oh, dear. Charles says, you started it. Jam Noise. Oh, I thought it was Ben that started it. Haha. And Charles says, he started something. Oh, my goodness me. Are we having a blossoming romance here, guys? One of two, Charles. Okay, you've suffered long enough. The Star Wars Hammer Horror Laurel and Hardy connection is Peter Cushing, whose first film was A Chump at Oxford, 1939. Oh, right. Is that where he was in? Oh, okay, let's see. A Chump at Oxford. People think that means me. Yeah, A Chump at Oxford. It was 1940 here, slapstick comedy. Oh, right. I like these old comedies. Yes, it was Laurel and Hardy. Yeah, oh, it looks good. Oh, it is a Laurel and Hardy movie. Yeah, I've not seen that one. Oh, but maybe they were. Yeah, maybe was it filmed over here? That would be quite something. It'd be interesting to see Oxford in the 1940s, where I live. But it does have. Let's have a look. Yes, it has Peter Cushing as student number 4. Right, that's interesting. I'll have to watch that one, Charles. Laurel and Hardy I'm very fond of, and the local interest of Oxford really does add to it. And that does answer my questions. I did wonder, you posed that little brain teaser and I couldn't answer. One of two, Gary Robinson says, hey Ben, as far as I remember, the movie Amoris Perros that we were chatting about was initially banned in the UK because of the dogfighting scenes. It's one of the few Mexican movies to achieve international success. I had no idea that Charlize Theron forces her son to wear girls' clothes. That's bang out of order. Yeah, it's disgusting. But they do that. I mean, I found out, because Will Smith is now infamous because of that slap, which I'm not going to bloody talk. I'm bored of it, actually. It's annoying. His wife is... People said, well, his wife who's lost her hair, it's sad she lost her hair, but apparently she's not exactly... The ideal wife to him. She doesn't treat him with very much respect. She has treated him badly. I'm not up on celebrity gossip, so I only found out about this recently. Apparently, she's not very nice to him. She cheats on him and stuff like that. Their son, he's about 21 or so. He's a very confused young man, Jaden Smith. Jaden Smith is actually one of these. ambassadors for the LGBTQI community and a spokesman for the LGBTQI people around the world. And he's, to look at him, I won't describe him, but it's like Charlize Theron. Oh, he's a bit older, luckily. Theron's son, I think he's about 8 or 9 years old. But this kid's like about 21. And I look at him, his clothing, his hair, and I think he's a messed up kid. He really is. Anyway, Gary says, I'm happy to pass on a copy of Roswell Rising to him. Oh, that's right. That's my... I suggested that he tells his friend in the movie industry, because he has a lot of contacts in the movie industry. Just ask him if they're interested in adapting Roswell Rising. I'm interested in negotiating rights. I'll pass it on, but I'll be wanting my 15% of any option in advance. Oh, well, you're the Mr. Fix-It, Gary. You're entitled to your fee. As for the Mexican movie industry, there are a few people who are worth keeping an eye on if you're into your movies. The actor Gael Garcia Bernal, for example, is one of the very few people who can claim to be the modern-day Al Pacino. His career has been set up and down, and he's very fussy in regards to the roles he chooses. However, he's currently filming Zorro, which is expected to push him into the mainstream. All right, and another Zorro movie. There's an awful lot of them. I mean, they're pretty good. I like the original series. But yeah, it's the Zorro. It's a story about a kind of outlaw Robin Hood type character in Mexico, and he has a sword, and he always marks everything with a Z, with his sword blade wherever he goes. Zorro means fox, and so he's very crafty like a fox. There's also an actor who lives not far from me who played the character Poison in Narcos on Netflix. He's a friend of a friend, and I understand that his career is already taking off thanks to Netflix. Hope you don't mind Roswell Rising being rewritten for a Spanish-speaking audience, Ben. It's now going to be Sinaloa Rising. Maybe I can sell it as a franchise to different countries, lol. Hey, Gary, I'm also, as far as translation goes, I'm also interested in negotiating translation rights as well. It's not as lucrative as movie. It just basically expands your market as a book. It's not as lucrative as a film adaptation, which not only do you get a commission as the author, but also you get to for rights leasing, but also it tends to focus more attention on the book, because people watch the film and want to read the book as well. And very often publishers will often bring out a new edition of the book, especially for a movie adaptation, like the Lord of the Rings books, or like my copy of the Lord of the Rings, which I brought. Actually, one of them has, I think it's the first one. I bought a new copy of the Fellowship. It has a still from the movie on the front. The cover's designed with the movie in mind. Triple T again, a Wag the Dog live stream. Wag the Dog watch party live stream. Hi Ben, I've been having a back and forth with some Aussie guy. Not Steve Mumbling, is it? He and his supporters say he targets all conspiracy theorists. Oh my God, it is Steve Mumbling. But going off his channel, he has a serious fixation on you. Yes, Triple T, the Mumbler, is pretty much obsessed with me. I think he would, if he lived in England, he'd probably ask me to marry him. Well, now the law has changed. Unfortunately, I would have to say no in that respect. I've had better offers than that, which I've turned down. So I'm certainly not going to accept his offer. But yeah, no doubt if you have a look through the comment sections on all my videos, you'll see his kangaroo-sized footprints in almost everything I do. So, Wag the Dog Watch Party introduction, Caroline McGreal. The movie is truth in plain sight, Ben. It is, isn't it? They're always doing this. They believe they can escape bad karma by doing so. Heard that from an ex-Freemason, now Christian. Thanks for sharing. Take care. And shalom to you and all from South East London. Thanks, Caroline. Shalom to you as well. Yeah, they do. And they're not even trying hard now. I mean, as I said, I think I mentioned before, there's lots of people exposing this now. The news reports from Ukraine. They are literally, some of the battle scenes are literally lifted straight from computer games. There's multiple examples of this. The latest is a helicopter being shot down, which comes from Call of Duty. It's been positively identified as a clip from Call of Duty. It's been touched up a bit to make it look more news-like, but it is. They play the two side by side. They're identical. The shape of the smoke and the flames, absolutely spot on. Reply to comments 55, 2 of 2. TK, can you prove you are shadow banned? Check out my video, TK. I've got a video saying it's called I've been shadow banned by YouTube. And I provide you with... of course, they don't write to you and tell you you're shadow banned. But there's overwhelming circumstantial evidence indicating I was shadow banned sometime in the spring or summer of 2018. It's just that the views, suddenly my viewing figures start to drop. Almost overnight, they just dropped to about a third of what they were previously. Marky Boy says, just to say that when I search for Ben on YouTube, despite putting the whole name of his channel in, it will not show up until I press search. Yep, Marky, that's several people have reported that to me, and it's absolutely true. That's a good example, yeah. If you put in Ben, though, there's another guy called Ben the Looney. That comes up straight away. If you put in Ben T, even Ben TH, you get Ben the Looney. But you don't get mine. It never used to happen. Right, one of two, Charles from Project Camelot. How am I supposed to stop using Steve mumbling words when he's already bagged all the best ones? Blathering nonsense, though. That's all mine. Blathering nonsense, yeah. All right. It is, yeah. The mumbler has actually completely and utterly, I think, he's cornered the market on witticisms, hasn't he? Now we have someone called Melanie, Wag the Dog Watch Party live stream. Melanie McBride, who says here some stuff in Spanish, which I can't understand at the beginning. Oh, there's lots of timestamps here. What's this? That there's an evil white person around every corner trying to get him, right? And this person says something, top girls, you know. Oh dear, it's spam. It's spam, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this is part gibberish and part spam. Okay, I'll just get... I'm not going to... Oh, there's some more here on Wag the Dog Party live stream. Oh, this is Jocelyn Owen. I've got Melanie McBride. And let's have a look at their channels, actually. Oh, very nice. Her avatar's nice, but she doesn't have any content. How about Jocelyn Owen? Oh, yes. Yes, very pleasant to look at. But, again, it's spam. Oh, God, there's Laura Blake now doing the same thing. Bugger off. Will you bugger off, you spammers? Oh, I'll have to... How do I delete it? It'll mess up my whole thing if I delete them now. I'll wait until the end of the hour, then I'll delete them. The Algebra platform. Hey, I loved making this. It was great fun. Even though it was pissing down with rain, I had such a wonderful day. Liam Nicklin says, Alexander the Great saw a UFO going into a body of water. He even sent his men down into the water inside a bell-shaped submersible to see if they could see what the UFO was. All right. How did they... Excuse me. Did they find him? Did they find anything, Liam, there? I know Alexander the Great was very interested in building a working submarine, which the technology at the time didn't allow, but he did draw up some designs, I think. But that might have inspired him. But it all depends. I mean, obviously, bell-shaped submersibles in ancient Greece probably weren't very sophisticated. They were probably just wooden things with lead weights or something, and wouldn't have been much use, especially if it was very deep water. But that's interesting. That sounds to me like a USO, unidentified submergible objects, which would have involved something that comes in and out of the water, like the Shag Harbour incident. A shag is a seabird, by the way, just in case anyone was wondering. The Apollo detectives to 10, debunking the debunkers. Gary Robinson says, Ben, mate, I'm leaving this comment here as opposed on your latest comments reply video, as I'm hoping that it will be seen by and therefore trigger both the right and wrong people, if that makes sense. It makes perfect sense, Gary. I do it all the time. The more badly mannered and bitter-faced skeptics I can motivate to spit fury at us, the more fun there is to be had. Oh, Gary, yes, I've noticed that myself. Remember when Steve Mumbling went quiet for a while? I missed him so much, I couldn't wait for him to come back. Long story short, I don't particularly have a dog in the fight regarding the moon landings. It's not something I pursue as an interest, for example. However, I do find the Apollo Detectives videos interesting. Excuse me. What fascinates me even more is the attitudes of the skeptics and the people who disagree with you. They love to play the amateur psychologist, so I'm going to voice my opinions on them using the same philosophy. That's interesting. I said this to Dr. Karen Douglas. Why don't you study the skeptics in the same way you do the woo-woos? Why is it that they can only disagree by leaving comments that are aggressive, rude, and sarcastic? Yeah, what does that say about the personality of the typical skeptic? Yeah, they don't. It's not universal, Gary, but the majority, I think, are at least in some way bombastic. You know, apart from the fact that they think they know everything and that they have put other people in their place. If they are opposed to the concept of the moon hoax, then why don't they seek out videos like yours to attack? So why do they seek out videos like yours to attack? This can only mean that apart from having too much time on their hands, they feel the need to actively look for videos to oppose. They do, don't they? Yeah. I mean, I don't think people on our side engage the skeptics as much as they do us. For example, my skeptic talk at SUFON, I'm the only person I know of on my side of the debate who does that, who does a dedicated lecture and has done dedicated videos, articles, etc. on the skeptic movement. Excuse me. In terms of philology, I wonder if this comes from a misplaced. I think maybe you mean psychology. I wonder if this comes from a misplaced sense of patriotism, a fear of their reality being an illusion. Yeah, they certainly seem to be very repelled by the idea that the things we people talk about, the UFO paranormal conspiracy stuff, is true. They seem to be very repelled from that possibility. The need to be on the winning side, a delusional sense of self-importance, or a combination of all four. Yeah, with Professor Brian Cox, it's all four and none, and probably more. There are lots of things that I oppose or simply don't believe in within the whole conspiracy and paranormal topic, but I have zero motivation to seek out videos on the subject and leave hassle comments in desperation. Yeah, I mean, I do. When I watch the skeptic videos, I very rarely comment. You know. Guess what, Ben? They're going to have an answer for everything I've written here. Cheers. Oh, Gary, probably, although it will trigger them a bit first, I'm glad to say. But yeah, I mean, they do. There's almost like a cottage industry of skeptics who go around just simply debating with people like us. And the moon landings, more than anything else, seems to inspire these kinds of discussions. Whenever you go onto like a forum of any kind or a Facebook group, you know, the comment sections are like pages and pages long of people when it comes to the moon landing issue. Probably because it is a very emotive subject. Okay, reply to comments 55, part 2 of 2. Gary Robinson again. Ben, mate, I've left a comment on your recent Apollo to Texas video that should really wind the skeptics for me. I think it's all right. This is not the same. It's not the same comment. No. The irony for me is that although I am interested in the conspiracy or paranormal topics, then I'm interested in hearing it. So it's a shame. So it's a shame that the skeptics who comment on your channel seem to be able to explain any of their claims and are not prepared to be friendly or social in any way. They're only able to drop insults and be rude, which I assume is a limitation of their character. I mentioned to Neil Peel recently that I accidentally debunked a lady in a live video on YouTube that was claiming to do sound healing by generating at 1 Hertz wave. Mind me, that's a very low frequency sound. Being a composer and producer with over 150 credits in Hollywood film and TV, and yes, skeptics, you can find me on IMDb. Oh right, I'll look you up, Gary. My latest film is Venom 2. Right. I was genuinely interested in how she was doing that, since the lowest frequency that a subwoofer can output is around 20 hertz. You still feel that, wouldn't you, in your gut? Infrasound is like really, sometimes it's like being punched. You can like feel it. If you are lucky, and that all frequency analyzers stop at 20 hertz, and therefore there's no way that she could generate a 1 hertz wave or be able to confirm that she was. This brought down the live stream, and she couldn't explain herself. Since I'm a nice bloke, as opposed to being a bitter-faced skeptic, I decided to backtrack on my comments, as you could save face. My point being that a skeptic would have sat back and watched her crash and burn. Cheers. Yeah. The thing is, I mean, some of the skeptics are starting to realise this point, Gary. There's an article there's a video by Phil Plait, which is very interesting. Phil Plait was actually speaking at one of the amazing meetings, and his talk is called "Don't Be a Dick." Sadie Crabtree, actually, is one of the staff members at JREF, also did a similar video of this nature, which basically says, if you're going to go around just calling people names and being rude to them, how likely is it you're going to make them see differently? I think they're realising this now. In fact, there's been psychological research done on this, that if you go to people and say and disagree with them very aggressively and abusively, they are less likely to change their mind, far less likely. In fact, they tend to sort of like withdraw and double down when they feel they're under attack that way. This is why if you're an atheist and you go up to a godbotherer and say, "You bloody loony, you shouldn't," things like that, they're likely to become more devout in their beliefs. And vice versa, if you're a Christian who goes up to an atheist and say, "You're going to hell, boy," again, they're less likely to convert to Christianity. Which, as I said in my video about skeptics recently, the Sufon one, both sides do make converts from the other. However, the converts are made probably because a skeptic will meet somebody. For example, if a skeptic who becomes a woo-woo, they'll probably meet someone like me, basically, or like yourself, who will just sit down, share a cup of tea or something, and just say, "Look, I think there's more to this than what you're saying. It's not quite the way you say it." And then a conversation will ensue. It will remain respectful. It won't immediately spiral downwards into recrimination. And that's I think probably what's happened with Michael Shermer. He's now friends with Graham Hancock. Now, he wouldn't have been friends with Graham Hancock if Hancock had just called him a dickhead, said, "Fuck off, you dickhead, you loony, you skeptic scum." Hancock wouldn't have converted him 1 inch. He'd made friends with him. Yeah. So I think you've done the right thing there, mate. I think you have. Of course, 20 hertz is actually too low to be heard anyway. You can't hear it in your ears. You can often feel infrasonic frequencies, which can actually influence the physical health. It can influence your mental health as well. So it's possible she might be able to. I probably think that she probably wouldn't be able to generate sound of 1 hertz. You need special equipment for that. And I like you, I would just explain this to her calmly. And you never know. I mean, even if she doesn't change her mind, some people and other people commenting would. So you did the right thing there, mate. Phase 5252012 says underneath to that, "I've left the comment on your recent Apollo Detectives video that should really wind up the skeptics." She's quoting Gary there. And carries on. "The Apollo Detectives have blocked everyone who disagrees with them." Rubbish, Phase. Rubbish. We have not. I can't speak for Neil's channel, but on mine, I've not. The only person I've blocked recently, like I said, we've just had some spammers, and I'll also block people who are rude and abusive. That's the only people I've blocked. 2 of 2, Caroline McGreal. Oh, it's Christ's Return. All right, Caroline is now doing her little evangelical bit. Oh, right. So this is interesting. This is not like just a Bible quote. "Christ return with his great city and army at the end times, Ben." Oh, yeah. Caroline, that's the Book of Revelations. Yeah, the New Jerusalem. Will Christ be mistaken as an enemy in E.T.? Enemy threat in the skies, like the Independence Day movie, maybe? Possibly, Caroline. He would be, yeah. There's a part of me that really would like that to be true. The second coming and things like that. It would simplify an awful lot of things, wouldn't it? It could be, although obviously there'd be no way to shoot down the New Jerusalem when there is a way to shoot down the big spaceship in Independence Day was destroyed with an amazing Deus Ex Machina moment when the Randy Quaid kamikazes his fighter jet into it. Anyway, she carries on. "Is that why all the people come to battle with him at the end times? If so, it does not go well for the people who fight him, Ben. Ah, yeah. Psalm 2, 1 to 12. This is. I'll just look up this Bible. Oh, here we go. Oh, hang on. Oh, I see. Why do the nations rage and people plot a vain thing? The kings of the earth take their stand. The rulers conspire against Yahweh and against his anointed, saying, "Let us break the bonds," they cry, "and free ourselves from slavery to God." He who is sitting in the heavens laughs. God mocks at them. Then he speaks to them in his wrath. And okay, you could read all this. It's all right. I'm not going to read all that. It's worth considering at least. Well, I'll think about it. Caroline. I've actually, if you read her HPANWO voice, you'll know I've read the entire Left Behind series. I was curious to read those books, and I read all of them, including the prequels. It's worth considering at least, Ben. Thanks for all your informative shows. Shalom from Southeast London. Thanks, Caroline. Shalom to you too. If you want a review of the Left Behind novels from me, just go to her HPANWO voice. Also, I do recommend Caroline, if you've not seen it yet, look at my Apocalypse video. It's on this channel. I'm very proud of it, actually. It's a very good one. It's kind of a talk I haven't given yet, but I've done it in studio form. So check that out. It's just called Apocalypse. Probe Autumn 2019. Nostalgia, nostalgia. Oh, Probe's coming back, though. Yeah, I'll tell you more about that in a future video, but Probe is returning, yeah. Liam Nicklin says, "Hello, Ben. How does one purchase signed copies of your fantastic-looking books?" Oh, Liam, you're getting a love heart. Just write to me, bennyj74@gmx.co.uk. I have a public email. To get to that, you just go to you go to the HPANWO TV blog, HPANWO-TV.blogspot.co.uk. The email link is there. Write to me, give me your address. I'll sign one and send one to you. But all you have to do is pay me by PayPal. That's all you've got to do. And there's no extra cost, except there's no extra cost. It's £10. All right. But I might need postage and packing. It depends how far away you are. If you're local, I'll pay for it myself. So, but thanks. I hope you enjoy them. I'll sign them, and they'll be worth a lot of money once Gary does his business and gets the film rights sorted out. Yeah. The Lights Were Low says on 50 part 2 or 2. Reply to comments 55. It's a YouTube link. What's this?
The first thing is
Henry Kissinger on Putin and Ukraine. Charlie Rose. Oh, right. This is from 2014.
I'm out of it for a long time now.
Yeah. But you know history, and you know how to negotiate, and you know the Russians.
I'm not going to watch all this. It's over 3 minutes long. But it says, former U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger tells Charlie Rose why the first thing he would have done was prevent Putin and Obama from talking to each other. Oh, right. I wonder why. Interesting. But I'll check that out, Lights Were Low. I will. Part 2 or 2 again. Phase 52012 says, "Well, Ben, I'm still waiting for some evidence that Raza has any qualifications at all. He's claimed to be an astrophysicist, a quantum physicist, a doctor, medical, ? And a writer of history books. He won't produce any peer-reviewed scientific papers because they are classified by the Chinese government. All he has is a YouTube channel that 12 years old with nothing new. Yes, in capitals. Or groundbreaking on it, and a 0-point free energy website that is under construction. So why is it that you accept his word, yes, in capitals, when he says he is a doctor and apparent expert on the Apollo program, when he obviously knows nothing about it? And I know he doesn't know because I've listened to him talk about it. All right, well, first of all, I don't have a reason to disbelieve him. And what's more, you don't have any proof that he's lying. There's every reason to, because of what I know about the free energy issue. I'm not surprised that all these papers are classified by the Chinese government. I'm absolutely not surprised at all. I've looked through his YouTube channel. I've checked up some of the information he puts on it, and it is valid. It ties in with other things I've discovered within my studies of the free energy network. Okay, so I've been to Keeling, I've got Andrew Johnson and people like that. That's why I'm willing provisionally provisionally to accept his word. This doesn't mean I'm going to believe everything he says. This doesn't mean I'm not going to, if someone puts an expose in about it, I'm just going to ignore it. This is the debate I'm having with Musketeer at the moment, because Jordan Maxwell sadly passed away the other day. Musketeer has put a lot of very iconoclastic things on Blogger about him, and I'm in the middle of studying to debate him about that. The same goes for Raza. If information comes about that Raza is doing anything, if he comes to us and says, "Look, I'm going to do something, you need to pay me lots of money," I'll be very suspicious. That's what a lot of them do. They come to you with some kind of promise, saying, "I can do this for you. I can do that. I've got this, that, and the other. But I need something from you." In the case of Richard Doty, it's like you work for him and become his spy. In the case of most people, they just ask for money. Now, Raza has not done either of those things. That's why I'm provisionally accepting his word in capitals or in lowercase. You take your pick. Steve Mumble. Oh, pray silence, please. We have him at last. The Australian rebel is here. Steve mumbling, "He's an excellent fit. Knowing nothing whatsoever about the Apollo moon missions is a prerequisite for joining the Apollo defectives." Well, Steve, the thing about it is, though, in this video, if you read through the video, Marcus, all the rest of us have looked at this, and he puts forward a case that needs answering. Just saying that people know nothing is not a rebuttal. You on the Apollo detectives videos, you look through it. You've looked through all of them. There's 10 of them now. Explain to me why we're wrong. You have done that a bit, but you need to do it some more. Right, phase 52012. This is this is a timestamp here, 138.04. It's not actually hyperlinked. Quick quote. Yeah, okay. Yes, you can bounce the laser reflector off the moon without the reflector, but if your laser actually does hit the reflector, you will know the difference. And so I can tell you there are laser reflectors on the moon. Here in China, we can prove that, but that does not mean they were put down by human beings. They were put down by an unmanned craft. Unquote. That's quoting Raza. Faye says, yes, a couple of photons coming back from a laser reflector on the moon does not prove that those reflectors... How am I doing for time, by the way? Oh, 2 minutes remaining, yeah. Does not prove that those reflectors were put there by humans. It also doesn't prove that they weren't put there by the Apollo crews. Okay, so we're both trying to prove negatives here, Faze. But you see, it's not positive proof of that, yeah. But I know very well we're not claiming there's positive proof that some kind of robot craft went up there. But the question is, using the retroflector as proof that Apollo was real also is equally a fallacy. He continues, Raza Vihari, I think you're a he. Are you a he? I think you're a he, Faze. You sound like a man. Apologies if I've misgendered you. If Raza Vihari is claiming that the reflectors left on the lunar surface by the Apollo crews were put there by a robotic probe, could he provide some evidence beyond just saying so? It's classified Chinese secret isn't proof. Yeah, of course. That is the next step in research, I think, to try and find out if there was a surrogate Apollo program that helped to simulate some of the effects of the Apollo program. So, perfectly reasonable request there, Faze. Another quote from Raza on the same. This is another same video. Another comment by Faze. Quote, a lot of people ask me why China, if China knows that there was a hoax, they don't blow the whistle, unquote. Faze says, that's not really a question now, is it? The question that Raza Vihari needs to answer is why haven't you been disappeared by the Chinese government yet? Your scientific papers are classified, but the Chinese government that you say you work for lets you go on YouTube and reveal all this, quote, bracket secret, question mark, information to the world. Well, he doesn't reveal everything. He reveals the basics. But you've got to realise is there's no information on Raza's channel which actually links him directly with Chinese secret government research. Now, before you say, well, that's just made up, that's just nonsense. Well, think about Ning Li. She's just died, actually, Ning Li, a brilliant scientist and engineer, a Chinese lady herself. She kind of had the same thing. She was like doing things on social media, but then also doubling up with her secret Department of Defense work in the United States. This then changed because Ningley disappeared completely from public sight, and all her close friends who would comment just said, well, she's doing classified work for the DOD. A time could come when Raza will go underground as well, and that's the end of part 1. A time could come when Raza will have to go underground in the same way, and we won't see him anymore. If that happens, then what will you say? That he's just gone off on holiday somewhere to keep us all guessing? But until then, he may well have a dual life between social media and his serious work for the Chinese government. Unless he's all making it up. But again, as I said before, we've got no reason to think that. His profile doesn't fit with a con man. Have you listened to my interview with him on HPANWO Radio, by the way? I think you'd like that. Anyway, that's the end of part 1. Back in a minute. Okay, we're on to hour number 2 now. I wonder how long this will go on for, actually. It's actually... I just wonder how long this will be. It looks, according to my list, we're about halfway through, according to this. I mean, I can't imagine this video is actually going to be very long, considering it's not so long after the last comments reply. So it'll probably be shorter. However, that knowledge that I've got less time, I feel to have more time, might make me linger longer on comments, which will then increase the time. So I don't know yet. But anyway, Faye says here on Apollo Detectives 10, debunking the debunkers, 139.47, quote, so what are those traces, when you say we, Raza, do you mean the Chinese, found, basically, he's quoting Raza again, and then he puts his own quote in between them. Basically, here's the Indian picture. Okay, the Chinese, the traces we found just look like this is the Indian three-legged craft. All right, so he's suggesting that, I don't remember that particularly, he's suggesting that I think that the Indians actually landed something on the moon. The Indians, not the Red Indians. Ooh, not them. No, they're actual Indians. India landed on the moon, and I thought their thing crashed. I can't remember. Yeah, it didn't. It certainly didn't work. And this has been fobbed off as the Apollo lander or something. I don't know. But anyway, Faye says here, if you download the high-resolution image from India, you can clearly see 4 legs. It's the LEM descent stage. Honestly, after years of demanding second or third party photographic confirmation of the Apollo landing sites, the Indian Space Agency give you 2 and you reject them out of hand. Well, again, Faze, this comes back to the old question, doesn't it? It's been going on ever since Bill Kaysing first raised issues, even during the Apollo program. Bill Kaysing was raising these issues. Well, why don't the Soviets go up there and check? Because, you know, at that time, the Soviet Union was the only other country with that capability. But they could have gone and checked. And, of course, there's many political reasons and socio-cultural reasons why it was necessary for the Soviets also to collaborate in this hoax by the Americans. As I've explained before, the Americans and the Soviets did a lot of business together. The Cold War was largely something that operated on the surface, was underneath. As researchers like Anthony Sutton have proven, they were, I don't know if the word ally is too strong, but they were very, very close fellow travellers in many ways. Anthony Sutton has dug up all the various business deals that were done, which date right back to the early Bolshevik era, in the 1910s and 20s, the Russian Civil War, where the Americans was arming and funding the Bolsheviks. It goes back even before that revolution. There's also the fact that you see, both sides benefited from the space race. The space race appears to be a competition, and on one level it was, but it was also a way of inspiring and inspiration and propaganda for the people. You could say, we're in this to beat the Russians. The Russian says, we're in this to beat the Americans. Both sides could use that to support their agenda. Now, a race is only a race. Well, a race is only interesting if it's close. And basically, the Russians were getting too far ahead. I mean, the first decade of the space race, it's fair to say the Soviet Union had a decisive lead. They got the first rocket up. They got the first person in space. They got the first dog. They were getting most of the firsts. Several other milestones they covered. I think they got of the 20 milestones that were listed, they got all but 2. The Americans got 2 up. and they got all the others. They got 18 or something like that. So it was in the interests of the Soviet Union for the Americans to be seen to catch up. It put them back in the race. It's like that. It's the hare and the tortoise thing, wasn't it? What happened when the hare got overconfident? It slowed down, stopped, sat at the side of the road, even had a nap. The tortoise just walks past and goes over the line. No, we need to see that tortoise catch up. We need to see that. We need to see it really challenge the hare. And there's many others I don't have time to go into now, but we do cover them in the Apollo Detective series. How am I getting on here? Okay, that's fine. So Faze continues. Oh, Faze again. This is the same video, of course. Quote: sitting at the Apollo landing site. This is actually proof that the Apollo missions were a hoax. You know, this is the Apollo landing, same site craters, but the wrong craft sitting there. Unquote. It's the correct spacecraft. Go and look at the high quality images. All right. So Faze is then saying, I mean, I can't prove or disprove that right now. But Faze is challenging Raza at that point. Faze, why is it you are claiming that people like me just keep banning you? I'm not banning you. I've indulged you in replying in great detail to your comments. So perhaps you could dispense with this fantasy that people are trying to shut you up. Faze says, quote, now China did not release this image. This image was released by India. We could have released this image, unquote. Why do you say we could have released this image? Do you mean China could have released these images? Are you saying that China has access to Indian Space Agency data? I don't know, Faze. It's possible they do share. More than you think. I mean, even during the space race, the USSR and USA were collaborating to a greater or lesser degree. Probably, as Anthony Sutton has proven, and many other researchers, they were collaborating more behind the scenes. They had a massive deal on import and export for agriculture, for example, grain, other foodstuffs, various commodities. Natural gas, of course, is a big thing today from the modern Russia, and and on the scientific level they were also collaborating. Faye says again, quote, but we, China, didn't want to because then NASA would be extremely mad that we just debunked their moon landing, but India, I think that India kind of did this accidentally, unquote. That's it. I don't remember that bit, Faze. See, unfortunately, I don't remember these particular parts of the program, but I'll do my best to answer your comments. But Faze says here, you think India put these photographs up on their website by accident? It does happen, Faze, you know. Photographs can be published by accident. You remember Carl Wolf and Donna Hare and what they said about the moon? About the photographs that NASA... Well, they didn't publish these photographs, but these are the two people who worked for NASA who inadvertently got in a position where they saw information from the agency that they were part of their own classified annex, which they didn't want revealed. Same video, quote from Raza again. You know they were like, oh, we're so proud we got a picture of the Apollo landing. They released this image even though they weren't supposed to, but this image basically just proves that Apollo landings are fake, unquote. Actually, it proves they were real. You're just not prepared to admit you're wrong. Now, what's this here? This is Chandrayaan-2, Department of Indian Space Research, Chandrayaan latest updates. And this is just says here, Chandrayaan-2 detected solar proton events due to high-intensity solar flares. Oh, right. Did it actually did this land, or was it in orbit? I know there was one mission that failed. It was going to land on the moon, didn't work. What about Chandrayaan-2? I'll just have a look. Hang on. I'm just curious. Chandrayaan-2. Here we go. Chandrayaan-2 is a second lunar mission deployed by the Indian Space Agency Research, ISRO, after Chandrayaan-1. It was launched from the launch pad, blah-de-blah. History, objectives, design, orbiter, Vikram lander. Oh, right. Oh, it's got a little rover thing. Oh, I hope it worked. Did it work? I know that one of them crashed, didn't it? Along with that Israeli one, Bereshit. I know Bereshit and Chandrayaan-1 both crashed. Oh, the loss of Vikram. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. It didn't work. Oh dear. The lander didn't work, I think. Oh dear. But the orbiter part of the mission with 8 scientific instruments remains operational and will continue its 7-year mission to study the moon. All right, I hope they try again with another one. That's very sad. Let's have a look. Try 103. All right, there's going to be another one. It's due to launch in August. Would attempt to demonstrate the capabilities of the lunar polar exploration mission. Are they going to put another Vikram thing on the moon? All right. Anyway, sorry, I'm going down a rabbit hole here. All right, FaZe, fair enough. I hope that works this time. Jeff Sperry says on 2 of 2. Oh, how the masses are being played again by the media. I know. The puppet masters must be chuckling to themselves at the gullible sheep. But this time, the Russians and Chinese are being using the situation to break the petrodollar cabal, while the poor people of Ukraine are just pawns in the game. Well, I think the poor people of Ukraine are basically the victims of NATO and the West. I think the Russians are Russia's trying to liberate them. But it's interesting, since I made that video with Nick Colostrum, the Central Bank of Russia announced it's buying up gold, and Putin made an announcement that they're going to trade oil in rubles. Now, what does that tell you? It tells you that they're trying to break the sanctions by setting up an independent network for themselves, which they can do. They have the power to do that. Iraq and these other countries didn't. But Russia's perfectly capable of setting up its own bilateral trade agreements with other countries involving a gold-backed ruble and cryptocurrency. Can you imagine what that will do to the Federal Reserve, to the Bank of England? They're going to be fuming. This is brilliant. This is fantastic. Their own plans are backfiring on them. Yeah. 1 of 2. Shelley of the Red. Hi, Shelley. How you doing? I know Shelley from Odyssey because she's often commented on my stuff there. It makes for a good chill-out video to have you read people's comments out. Thanks, Shelley, and thanks for subbing to me on YouTube. I'll check I'm subbed to you on YouTube as well. But Shelley the Red has a really cool. Has a really cool Odyssey channel. 2 of 2. Steve mumbling. You didn't answer the question. Why does a death of the family of one of the defectives prevent the rest from attending the usual crap fest? Steve, for goodness sake, man, don't be a dick, as Phil Plait would say. It was because we felt a bit subdued ourselves by what happened to the person who lost a beloved relative. We ourselves felt subdued by it. We weren't in the mood, basically, and we also felt he might feel he was being left behind. So we decided as an act of solidarity to wait for him to feel better, actually to get over the bereavement. That's why. To answer your question. Oh, Sky watching in Devon. Oh, this was so good. I loved this video. Barney's Den says, I can see right up your nostrils, Ben. Oh, that was my old camera with the old low light, yeah. It tends to shine right up. You can't do it in the day, but it tends to shine right up my my nose, which is fairly I've got a fairly substantial kind of nose structure, you know. And it tends to, with the low light, goes right up there, yeah. Apollo Detectives 10. We got XVH Green. We measured the Earth. We've measured the Earth. There's no curve anywhere. We see mountains from 300 miles away. That's not possible on NASA's globe. There's no proof the Earth is moving. The second law of thermodynamics says outer space isn't real. Cannot have gas pressure next to a vacuum. Oh. XVHG Green. Yeah. The moment, I didn't actually notice it straight away, but yes, I know a red flag has risen. A very flat red flag. Now, I've done an entire video called Flat Earth, which I do recommend you watch. I don't agree with you. I think the Earth is moving. It is a sphere. And we see mountains 300 miles away. It's possible we don't see anything over the horizon. There is curvature. I've told you, in my video, I give the example of Skegness Beach. You can see the offshore wind farm on a good day when there's no fog. But you can see the rotors going round at the top. These are very large structures built on artificial islands. But you can't see the base. You can't see the island at the base. Why? Because it's hidden by the curvature of the Earth. You see, we see mountains 300 miles away. That could be because the mountain's very tall. It also could be a mirage effect. I don't know what you mean about the second law of thermodynamics. You can have gas pressure next to a vacuum. If there's a gravitational field, the gas will, the gases, that is, the gases in space will accumulate on that body where the gravitational field is, and there's a gradation, because what happens is all the gas is actually attracted to the gravitational field. However, at the top of the layer, there's less pressure because what you have at the bottom in the troposphere, you have not only the attraction of the gas within the troposphere, but you have the weight of the gas above pressing down. So you can have pressure. You can't have gas pressure next to a vacuum. Certainly not. I mean, if you open up a pressurized cylinder like the ones we used at the hospital, all the pressurized gas will leak out. However, if there was some kind of force pushing or pulling that gas into the cylinder, you would have a very different effect. The gas would stay within the cylinder, and it would indeed be gradiated depending on how far it was from the source of the field and the weight of the gas above it, relative to the field, in the direction which the field flux was operating on. So, sorry, the Earth is round. Oh, here we go again. Here we go again. XVHK Flat Earth Green says here again, on the same video, NASA shoots rockets into the ocean and all their satellites are helium balloons. No, they're not. No, they're not. I know, these satellites, oh God, or lunar sats, or whatever they're called. Sataloons. Air bubbles, green screen, hairspray in hairs, fake 0G. Pilots say it's flat. All government and military design documents assume a flat and non-rotating Earth. No, they only do that when they don't do that when they are dealing with, for example, ballistic missile trajectory. Ballistic missile trajectory takes into account, for example, the Coriolis effect. Now, the only way we would do that is if we were on a rotating sphere. Pilots don't say the Earth is flat. All they say is that their instrumentation is designed to operate within a gravitational field where up is up and down is down. That's these things like inertial navigation, for example. So really, it doesn't make any difference to an aeroplane whether the Earth is flat or round. But that's simply because the direction of gravity is always in the same direction. It's from up to down if it's a flat Earth, or from the periphery to the centre if it's a sphere. So pilots do not. I know there's a couple of pilots who've come out as flat earthers, but you know, that generally speaking, pilots do believe in the round Earth. Oh my God, here we go again. Third comment again. All right then. All right, Mr. Green. Let's have a look. Here we go. NASA means to deceive in Hebrew, does it? All right. Well, you see, the thing is, Mr. Green, you say about fake space. I do believe that the films from the International Space Station are real. I think the ISS is a real thing. I don't believe that every single space mission is faked. I don't. But NASA does deceive. I'm not surprised if they encode some linguistic clue into there. It doesn't surprise me. That fits like a glove. NASA never a straight answer, for example. What Green says here. NASA has 666 in their maths everywhere. Every picture of space is a literal cartoon image. NASA admits it's fake. Not every picture of space is fake. Some of them are, not every single one. 2022, and you still think you live on a ball? There's no proof for the globe. Yes, I do think we live on a ball, and there is proof for the globe. Oh, here we go. Oh, my goodness me. He's on a roll. He's on a roll. Same video, XVHK Green says here. Circumference of the Earth, 6 times 6, 600. Curvature rate of the Earth, 666 feet per mile squared. Earth going around the Sun, 66,000 mph. Gravity discovered in 1666, 666 newtons. The North and South Arctic circles are 66.6 degrees latitude. Diameter of the Moon, 6 times 6 times 60. The Sun is 666 times brighter than the Venus. The longest time a female astronaut has been in space, 666 days. Nobody has been in... Hang on. I know this is true. Hang on. Let me see. Valery Polyakov. All right. Valery Polyakov is a former cosmonaut from Russia, holder of the record of the longest single stay in space. 437 days, 18 hours. That's more than 14 months. So no one has ever been in space for 666 days, Mr. Green, female or male. As for the other integers you give me, I'll have to check those out. I don't have time to do that now. But thank you for your flat input. It was very interesting indeed. Oh, well, it was certainly amusing, if not interesting. Now we have MH370 live stream. The Basic Materials Project says, I love Tintin. It brings me back to when I was a kid. Yeah, I do too. I can still read them. I haven't read them for years. I don't have them anymore. But I wonder. I could read them and enjoy them. Yeah. Same video. Cat Squatch returns 93. Good to see you doing well, pal. Thanks very much, Cat Squatch. Thanks for posting. And I don't know if you were in the live stream, but I appreciate you joining the live stream. Here we have a thread on the MH370 live stream. Steve mumbling. Telling the police a little old lady was beaten and robbed is very different from telling the police she was hit by a directed energy weapon, isn't it? Yeah, that's not the point, Steve. The point is that I don't have time to point. I was saying that if you lie about seeing a little old lady being beaten to death and say she died of a heart attack, that's the same thing as saying, well, I'm not going to say the truth about 9/11 because it might upset people. It's not the same. Yeah, you see, the point is, Steve, it was a metaphor, Steve. It was a metaphor. It was a metaphor, this idea that you have to keep quiet about what you really know about a crime. Even if you have proof of who did it and you know the suspects, people are keeping quiet about it because, well, if you say the truth, it's disrespectful and it's showing insensitivity to the grieving relatives. No. You completely diverting from the point there. One explanation is easy to accept because it isn't extraordinary. The other is extraordinary and require extraordinary evidence to be accepted. Okay, would you think seeing two thugs with baseball bats knocking an old lady off her feet and bashing her repeatedly over the head is extraordinary information? As I said in my skeptic talk, Steve, evidence has to be proportional to the claim. Now that's something you could tell the police. It's completely plausible. And you could same with the directed energy weapon. Again, there's proof that existed. It's irrefutable, to quote Andrew Johnson. And to say, well, I'm not going to present that irrefutable proof, that extraordinary evidence, because it's disrespectful to the memory of the little old lady who was killed and insensitive to her children and grandchildren, is wrong. It's completely wrong. Do you see what I mean? Charles says under here, is that what he's getting at? Scratching my head thinking, 9/11, little old ladies, telling the police she wasn't actually attacked. What's that to do with me saying I was at Logan when a plane got hijacked? Charles, were you? Well, it is. All I'm saying is that you said use the term tread carefully when dealing with this because real people got killed. Okay, well, my reply to you was a hypothetical little old lady gets killed. She gets murdered. What are you supposed to do when you have information? You're a witness. You have proof. You photograph the perpetrators, for example. What are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to keep that quiet? Are you supposed to say, no, she died of a heart attack and delete the photos? Because this is essentially what believers in the official story of 9/11 are telling us to do. Do you see what I mean? You're essentially saying that. I mean, I don't think you mean any harm, Charles. I really don't. I mean, you lost a friend in that particular incident, and I'm very sorry about that. I'm not one of these people who believes, he's living the high life in the Algarves, sipping Malibu brew from a coconut shell while some ebony porn star, sucks his knob. I'm not one of these people, all right? I don't believe that. I believe this person is no longer with us. I'm very sorry. I don't believe they were on board a plane that crashed into a building, but I do believe they were disposed of. It was one way or another. And I'm not doing I'm not showing you any sensitivity or courtesy, nor am I showing him any respect by saying otherwise. David Smith said, yeah. The response I got was that someone getting a dog could be extraordinary, according to Ben. Someone getting a dog could be extraordinary. Did I say that? Someone getting a dog could... No, I mean, I remember... Oh, God. David, I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember the details. I was using some kind of simile. I was using some kind of simile or a metaphor again. He carries on. I mean, if you're living on the ISS, then perhaps that may be so, but shifting the goalposts is what I keep seeing, and yet he accuses skeptics of doing that. Skepticism isn't anything to do with shifting goalposts or denialism. That's all woo believers. Well, David, as I explained in my Sufon talk, skeptics do shift the goalposts. I mean, perhaps you could clarify exactly what I was talking about. I'm sorry, I've forgotten. Please, you'll have to provide details because I don't have that kind of memory. Charles says here, did I start? I didn't start the bloody recording. I'm sorry, guys, I didn't start the damn thing. Hang on. How long have I been going for? I'm going to have to stop it. And oh, dear. Sorry, just a moment. Where did I start this thing? Hang on. Oh, dear. 26 minutes. All right. So I'll say 35. Okay, so hang on. Delete. Sorry, guys. 35 minutes. 35 minutes. There we go. All right. Now, where was I? Charles says, one of the best things a person could do is give a home to a shelter dog. Yeah, that's always nice to do, Charles. Still, I don't see how that's evidence for skyscrapers destroying laser beams in orbit that no one on the planet can see unless you're Inspector Clouseau. Do not mess with me, I am Inspector Clouseau. Yes, I said that, you fool. Yes, I said that, you fool. I would like to use your fern. What? You said fern. I know what I said, you fool. I love those. I'm afraid I've sort of lost track of what I said and what this all means. That Charles, I'm sorry. Perhaps you could clarify, maybe put in a timestamp just to remind me. I'm sorry. Steve Mumling says to David Smith, he has a poor grip on reality. He can't tell the difference between ordinary and extraordinary, or fact from fiction. Yes, I can, Steve, as I've explained. I know very well the difference between fact and fiction. This is why I've been looking into the information that shows that the BBC is faking battle scenes from Ukraine. Sometimes they're putting in old gas explosions from 5 years ago and saying that's Russian artillery did that. And they're taking clips from computer games. So I do know the difference, David Smith says. It also shows that when he talks about coincidence, basically anything that he has a perceived belief in can't possibly be a coincidence. Hang on, it also shows that when he talks about coincidence, basically anything he has a preconceived belief is true, can't possibly be coincidence. And any conspiracy he doesn't believe, he seems happy to use coincidence. No, not at all. In fact, I had an incident the other day when I thought I had another Mandela effect, and it turned out not to be true. There wasn't enough evidence. I mean, I haven't talked about it in detail, but it was to do with people. Some signs had been switched over at the river, and it turns out this was actually done deliberately. So, no, that's actually not true. That's not what I'm like at all. But you're wrong about coincidence. I do actually think that something I have can't possibly... Some things can be coincidence. What's more, the thing is, skeptics have preconceived beliefs too, and they often wheel out the coincidence line to explain it. And I go into detail in this on my Sufon video. With regards to his, if someone won the lottery 5 times in a row, here we go, then if we could find no link in evidence to that person cheating, then yes, it remains a coincidence. Really? It stops being a coincidence when good evidence linking them together becomes available. The woo crowd can't seem to handle grey areas. It has to be either black or white. Hang on a sec. Are you seriously saying if someone won the national lottery 5 weeks in a row, and that you could find no evidence they fiddled with Lancelot or weighted the balls, you would just say, okay, it's just a coincidence. You would really say that. And I see Musketeer is... I actually did have a debate with Musketeer about this. And he's posted in a minute. Anyway, David Smith then carries on. I would add saying something like, hang on. I would add saying something like, quote, we don't know for sure what it is, so it could be aliens, unquote, isn't a grey area. I think that's perfectly reasonable. That's a perfectly reasonable statement. We don't know what it is for sure, so it could be aliens. That's very different from saying we don't know for sure what it is, so it definitely is aliens. No serious ufologist has ever said that. That is pushing the belief of black and white while pretending to be objective. No, it's not. It's not pushing the belief of black and white. Saying we don't know for sure what it is, so it could be aliens. Again, it's a reasonable, rational position. In an absence of knowledge, you have to weigh different hypotheses against each other. And the fact that something created by extraterrestrial intelligence is a valid hypothesis. He says, deny it all you want, but when we apply the same way of thinking to any other claim, it just falls apart. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Did you see who stole your wallet? No. Could have been aliens. Did you see who knocked your door? No. Could have been aliens. Well, of course, when it comes to wallet stealing and door knocking, it's less likely that it's aliens. However, when it comes to strange, structured objects that look artificial flying in the sky, then yes, it's more likely to be the extraterrestrial hypothesis, yes. So equating those two things is false. That is a non sequitur. Reason and logic just doesn't work like that. Yes, it does. There's a plethora of things we could lean towards before resorting to extraordinary examples, such as everything we already know exists. Well, we don't. You see, that's the point. We don't. Everything we already know does not exist. There's a plethora of things. Of course, we can. There's a lot of things that we can indeed suggest as possibilities without saying that it's aliens. And I'm not the sort of person who says everything is aliens. If someone comes up with a sighting and it looks like a balloon and it's acting like a balloon, I will say that it's a balloon. What I don't do is, you see, I brought this up in Sufon as well. I don't believe through some principle that no skeptic can really explain, that the extraterrestrial hypothesis has to be eliminated has to be kept not true, considered untrue, until every single terrestrial hypothesis has been eliminated. I don't believe that. I think that's wrong. And the principle has never really been explained to me. Never really has. Because then you get to the point that, well, you get into the clown's day off fallacy that I talked about, where we're not going to accept the extraterrestrial hypothesis at all unless we can eliminate every other physically possible hypothesis. That's very different from saying we're not going to consider the extraterrestrial hypothesis until we can eliminate every other more likely hypothesis. Do you understand the difference, David? If I sell you a box promising it contains evidence of aliens, what is more likely? That it actually does contain evidence, or that I'm scamming you? Well, in that case, I'd want to open the box and have a look first. It could be evidence of aliens, right? Yes, it could. But I'd want to open the box and have a look. There's actually a scene in Roswell Rising where this happens, if you've read that book. In Ben World, that's possible. Apparently, will Ben buy my box? £50, no refunds. Only if I can look inside first and analyse. I'd need to know what was in it, and I need to be sure if it was something worth buying. David, you're completely misrepresenting the situation. You truly are. April GRS says, I'm trying to follow as well the same line of thinking. Is this 9/11? What? I want to understand, but can't seem to get there. It's so long. I don't know what you mean. Sorry. Oh, no, here we have Musketeer. I'm engaged in a debate in Blogger with Musketeer. Hi, David Smith. I posted a reply to this, but Ben's going to have to approve it, possibly because it contains a link. I'll post it again without the link. Well, Musketeer, I've approved everything within the Held for Review section. I'm glad you're not one of these people who pretends that I delete posts and things like that. There have been other multiple winners, but I think 13 is the record. I hope I managed to get Ben to understand. Oh, right, yeah. Okay. Musketeer actually sent me a link to this, where there was someone who actually won 13 times, but they didn't win the jackpot 13 times in a row. Okay. I mean, I've actually won the lottery 3 times. I mean, but it's all been like 3 balls, so I got £10. I hope I managed to get Ben to understand. If your chance of winning is, say, 1 in 160,000, it doesn't change to 1 in 80,000 if you buy 2 tickets. Rather, the odds become 2 in 160,000. Okay. He did seem to struggle to understand that. Not sure if he did. Okay, I do struggle to understand that, because essentially what you're doing is you have an equation here in which you double one factor and half the other factor, which seems to me like simply balancing. So no, I don't understand why 1 in 160,000 is different from 2 in 80,000. If you buy 2 tickets, because you buy 2 tickets, you essentially double your chances, don't you? I mean, it's so yeah, I don't understand that, mate, Musketeer. Ben and I also discussed the discrepancies in the version of the story he used to talk, and the first-hand report given to the Scientific American article. Oh, this is to do with Shermer, yeah. This is the wrong video, Musketeer, I think. Is it? Yes, is it the MH? Yes, the MH60 live stream. This essentially refers to what I said in the Sufon video, but never mind that. Anomalous events can shake one's skepticism to the core by Michael Shermer. Although this account was given 6 or 7 weeks after the event, Ben insists he read a different earlier version by Michael Shermer, and Shermer changed his story later, possibly due to pressure from fellow skeptics. Despite his efforts, Ben has been unable to produce evidence of this earlier version by Shermer, which contained differences making it sound far less likely to be coincidence. The song being a favourite of the grandfathers, for example. Yeah, that's correct. That's basically what I said. Yes, and but then the thing is, Musketeer, when I asked you because you say this is a first-hand report, yeah, it is a first-hand report, but it is different to the initial one. That's not the initial report. But I did say to you, if I discovered the initial report, and I've tried using Wayback Machine, I can't come across it, would it change your mind about the coincidental explanation for Shermer's experience? And you said no. You said no completely, in which case it all becomes academic anyway. Because so even if that was exactly what happened to Michael Shermer, you still would dismiss it as coincidence. So, therefore, it is kind of like it is something hypothetical, isn't it? That's the end of that. Thanks for that thread, guys. That was very interesting. MH370 Gary Robinson says here, "Hey Ben, when I was a much younger man, I was signed to Kick In Records in London, and a French guy at the label had previously been working as an actor in France." Good. You don't half name drop, Gary. You really don't. He mentioned to me that he'd once been cast as Tintin in the big budget live action version of the movie, and that he was set to star alongside Jean Reno. For whatever reason, the movie was never made, though. Cheers. Oh, thanks. That's information. There was actually a live version Tintin. I watched it when I was a kid. There were also several cartoons. There were like there was a cartoon. There was Lake of the Sharks, which was actually not by Hergé. It was actually written by somebody else who bought rights to the franchise, and so the publisher basically produced another one post Hergé. But Lake of Sharks was also a comic book, but it was also a cartoon. It's actually a cartoon movie. You can see actually the style of animation is very different. Is very, very different. But yeah, that's interesting there. Kick In Records, that's a good name, Kick In Records. Yeah, but it's interesting, Gary. You know, I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding about your name dropping. I mean, I do believe you. You know, I do. MH370, Steve mumbling. The Titanic hasn't been raised. Yes, it has. I saw it. I saw the movie, Steve. There's a film called Raise the Titanic, and Steve, I know the Titanic hasn't been raised. The Raise the Titanic is actually a pretty crap movie. It stars Alec Guinness is in there as a small role, but even despite that, it's still a shitty movie. MH370. There was a Kiwi engineer on the plane as a passenger. That's someone from New Zealand. A Kiwi is, yeah, not the bird. It's a person. Before he left for the airport, he gave his wife his wedding ring and watch. He told her to give the wedding ring to the first of their sons to get married, and his watch to the second. This is a huge red flag. It strongly suggests he knew he wasn't coming back. He was sitting in row 2 close to the cockpit. He could easily have hijacked the plane by waiting for one of the pilots to exit the cockpit, pulling him out of the way and stepping into the cockpit and locking the door behind him. He was ex-military, so he could have dispatched the remaining seating pilot with ease. The plane crashed close to Perth, where his family lived at the time. There is a 777 audio autopilot tutorial on YouTube that lasts for less than 7 minutes. An engineer would have no trouble learning it, operating it, and turning off all the other systems. All right. That's interesting, Steve. So this person, yeah. Was this reported? Because this is the first I've heard about this. Because this person really ought to be a prime suspect. Charles says underneath here, hell, dude, that's tragic. Have you got the press clipping for it? Charles says also to Steve, thanks, Steve. Equally, he could have just been having an affair and leaving his wife. People do just up and leave their families, never to be seen again. Possibly, Charles, it could be that he was actually investigated by the police and was eliminated as a result of that. That he was actually simply walking out on his missus. And we know that the pilot apparently had another woman in his life. Steve mumbling says to Charles, they do, but I doubt he would have cut ties with his kids. He could easily have left his wife and still expected to be around for his kid's wedding. What he did sounded like he was going on a particularly hairy mission during a war. Yeah, possibly a suicide mission, Steve, yeah. Charles says, it's got all the cloak and dagger of a mission for sure. Yeah, it does. He was also ex-military and could have had PTSD. I've known some of them walk out on their whole families and do it very calmly. Sometimes they feel guilty for having a family after killing other men in the war. Yeah, there's all kinds of psychological effects of a job like that could push them over the edge. Yeah, and the suicide rate among ex-servicemen is huge. It's enormous. More during the war on terror, more actually took their own life than were killed by enemy fire. I think it's twice as much. It's a huge number. You see, it's the fact that I've only just heard about this indicates that either there is some kind of cover-up or that he has been investigated and eliminated. Steve says to Charles, if they recover the CVR, that's cockpit voice recorder, and it still has viable data, we'll find out. My money would be on him first and then the captain. The black box, as I said, is going to be. It probably won't be found now, because its pinger only has a range of 6,000 feet. It was obviously on the seabed below that level. The hydrophones that the searchers were looking for didn't go down that deep. They did look up and down quite a bit looking for this particular spot, and they couldn't find it, which unfortunately indicates that they're probably now, if it's not pinging, it's never going to be found. But I would be very, very curious, obviously, and I'm sure everyone would be, to find out what was on there. Charles says to Steve, coming in third will be the cheese and pickle sandwich. Potato, someone called Potato says to Steve, this reminds me of the SS Seabreeze sinking. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but its circumstances are still suspicious as hell. I've not heard of that. SS Seabreeze. Let's have a look. SS Seabreeze sinking. Here we go. SS Seabreeze Wikipedia. A cruise ship. Oh yeah, it's. Let's just have a look. I'll just show you. A cruise ship that made headlines when its passengers were unloaded midway through the cruise, and the vessel was put under arrest at Halifax Harbour. The ship then sank in international waters 3 months later. At the time of the sinking, it was owned by this company and insured for $20 million. Its scrap value was estimated at only $5 to $6 million. Some people claim that about the Titanic. All right. But I don't have time to watch all this now, but that sounds very interesting. It does. It sounds very interesting indeed. And Charles says to Potato, this does have all the hallmarks of a whitewash over it. The last thing Malaysia Airlines needed was scrutiny into their abysmal safety and security records. They were already in considerable financial difficulty at the time, and it is only after this disaster that things improved. Better to distract using the media than to own up to any of this. That's the end of the thread. And thanks Steve and Charles for that, and Potato. That's a very interesting thread, and I didn't know about that. So that's another possibility, though, Charles. They didn't cover it up. They didn't eliminate him as a suspect. They simply decided not to talk about it through corruption. MH370 Dark Corners UK says, I once picked up a number station on my daughter's baby monitor. It was a man talking English but with a Middle Eastern accent. Very creepy to hear. Yeah. Kerry Woolley says, number station? And Dark Corner says, it's a random radio broadcast that usually consists of a string of seemingly unrelated numbers with some kind of encoded message within, often used by foreign governments or spy agencies to share sensitive information. Yeah. Especially in the pre-internet age, yeah. Kerry says, in reply, thanks. I thought you were referring to the electronic voice phenomenon. Thanks. Again, very interesting. Yeah. Now, EVP is something different, yeah. It's also very interesting, EVP, yeah. 370, Mr. Gianluca Viali, our favourite Scottish viewer, says, another great subject, Ben. Thanks for the upload. Oh, you're very welcome, Mr. Gianluca. Thank you. Bumbleina says on MH370, hi, Bumbleina. How you doing? Bumbleina 77. In my humble opinion, the CIA have remote control capability. They could take control of the plane and turn everything off. The engine manufacturer knows exactly what happened to the plane, as they have contact with the engines and can adjust them in midair. The reason why I don't know. All right. That would certainly be very interesting, wouldn't it, Bumbleina? Yeah, it would. I've just got to do something quickly to remind myself, because I've got some. I've saved a few comments from. I saved a few comments from beforehand, which I have to just very quickly copy. I want to do this before I forget, because there's a sort of thing I tend to forget. So I'll put that up here with my notes for this particular video. I'll put here we go, notes. But it's interesting though, this whole thing, because like I think a lot of people got in there expecting me to go crazy and come out with all kinds of alien stuff and things like that to do with this, when in fact my opinion on the MH370 issue is surprisingly conventional for someone like me. So I think a lot of you preempted me a little bit with what I was going to say, and then in the end I didn't say it, and I thought you went a bit. Kev Baker, R.I.P. Mindful Eats says, I haven't listened for a while. I tuned in this morning and I'm reading the news. R.I.P. Kev, I'm in shock. That was just 9 days ago. Whoops. Undo, paste, undo. Hang on. Yep, sorry, I've got to go back and get. I've got to do my usual and get back to get the tag. Here we go. I'm very sorry, Mindful Eats, to break the news to you for you to find out that way. That's a horrible way to find out, and I really do. I'm really sorry. But yeah, Kev. Hang on. Undo. Paste. There we go. It's he's one of a series of people who's left me. People I was close to, people I liked. I did get to meet him, and he left us too early, much too early. Do miss him. MH370 Marky Boy. I missed this one live as I was out partying. Oh, I'm listening at work to make Monday morning less painful. All right, I'm glad it makes your Monday morning less painful, Marky Boy. But I'm a bit miffed that some party upstaged me. It must have been a very good one. There must have been some very, very expensive caviar and champagne, and some extraordinarily beautiful bikini birds. I certainly hope so. Anyway. Kev Baker again. Oh, another Kev Baker. Angel Breath. That's a good name. Says, thanks for this one, Ben. Miss you guys. R.A.P. Kev. Oh, I'm going to put a love heart on that. Yeah, and yeah, I do. I mean, I'll never forget him. I'll never forget Kev Baker. Kerry Woolley says on MH370, always interesting, Ben. Any chance of covering the Marconi deaths at some point? I will indeed, Kerry, although I have mentioned them before. A guy called David Griffin has done a very good research project into the Marconi deaths. This happened what it basically is the company Marconi, the famous engineering electronics firm. I think in the mid-1980s there was a series of extremely strange disappearances, deaths, things like that, and mostly suicides, some really inexplicable suicides. One of them was extremely outlandish and gruesome. The guy actually beheaded himself. Yeah, it's. I'll maybe carry. That's an idea for a video. Yeah, that's an idea for a video. Keep reminding me. I'll make a note before. Because I can't make notes right now while I'm doing this. Oh, all right. I'll tell you what, Kerry. All right. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Let me go to future videos. Here we go. Here we go. Mega Marconi deaths. And there. Oh, I've still got the MH370 live stream in my future videos notes. I don't need that anymore because I've done it. All right, and where are we now? Where are we now? Oh, just here we go. One of two. TK. If aliens arrive on Earth and say that's a reply to comments, by the way, and say we are the only aliens around here and no other aliens exist and none have ever visited the Earth, would you still consider yourself an expert on aliens and ufology and disclosure? Well, obviously we'd have to take on board what they said, but that's an interesting idea that there's only one set of aliens. I would want to ask them why, how they know, where have they been, what parts have they investigated, because you see, they appear to me because I know from witnesses and people who've encountered them, there are actually many different kinds of alien. It's unlikely that a single planet would produce that variety of intelligent life. It does. That's an interesting question, isn't it? Interesting possibility. Jamelia Jackson says on MH370, hello Jamelia, welcome back. Good to see you again. Great video, Ben. It's such a sad topic. Today, there has been an awful plane crash in China. Yeah, I heard. It's awful. I heard about that. You do have to wonder if it's connected. China and Malaysia have a tough history. On a different note, you know, I've always had a friendly non-belief as to your version of events regarding your time at the hospital. Now I do not think you are a crisis actor. No, that is very silly, but I can see why people are curious. But I do have a question about that firing. So do others now, it would seem. No need for others to be mean about you, though. Hope you're well and safe. Yeah, I'm fine, thanks, Jamelia. I mean, feel free to ask. I mean, this is kind of... if you go to HPANWO Radio and listen to the gas banner programs I've done on this, or indeed the HPWA blog, it's probably a better way to communicate these things. Or maybe the St. Theo's videos. But check those out. Any questions you have, I'll be happy to answer. Kev Baker, another Kev Baker comment here. I remember the Kev Baker show when he was with his partners Johnny Whistles and Marty, right back in the day. Rest in peace, Kev, till we meet again. Oh, yeah. I never met Marty. I knew Johnny Whistles. He was actually on several shows with me. He was the one who said, "Didn't touch that dial." Yeah, I actually met Johnny Whistles as well. I stayed with him when I was in Glasgow, actually. MH317. Will Michelle says, I don't know if she will or not. The people who say they are and have been in contact with the off-planet races need to help mankind now, or fuck off and play your games in the classroom. We're in the final days. I'm not a doom monger, but this is really serious shit now. Oh, you sound like one, Will. But what you saying? You say play your games in the classroom. But you see, the people who say they're in contact with off-planet races, what's wrong with them saying that? What has that got to do with final days and things like that? What if their information actually could help us? Have you thought about that, Will? I think maybe you're being prejudicial here. Right, oh, there's an old one here. Get a job, you lazy scroungers, part 1. John Randall says, where does the buck stop at the Tories? Capitals. They under the IDS Ian Duncan Smith. Oh yeah, Ian Duncan Smith mantra of this universal credit, as I think it should mean has destroyed the hopes of the unemployed with their restrictive policies. Don't get me started on universal credit, John. It's horrible. It's basically saying basically everyone who applies, you're basically unemployed are treated the same. I think it might be a forerunner to UBI, Universal Basic Income, and therefore complete financial control. I don't have time to cover it in any more detail, but I'm very, very opposed to the universal credit. Luckily, I don't have to claim it myself at the moment, thank God. Oh, God. I hate it if I did. Same video, John Randall says here again, think of those 800 ship workers turfed out of their jobs. Some have been there over 20 years. It just shows loyalty means very little to some, and trying to claim support while they wait for compensation. I wonder how the Department of Work and Pensions will treat them. Can't be any worse than P&O. Who knows? On a P&O are bastards. There's actually a cruise company which is called P&O Continental or something. They've had to put out a disclaimer that they're not the same as P&O, the Peninsula Oriental. The guy who did it, I've forgotten his name, Hessen Ford or something. What's his name? Hang on. P and O CEO. What's his name? What's that fucker called? Oh yeah. I can't remember what his name is. He's got Hessen. He's called Hebblethwaite. That's it. Peter Hebblethwaite. The most hated man in Britain he is right now. Yeah, they basically made 800 crew redundant, but they're not. The thing is that it's not the vacancies that become redundant. It's not real redundancies. They just kick them out and they're replacing them with cheap agency workers, mostly Eastern Europeans. I mean, sailing, ships and sailing and shipping lines, they've been notorious for this for a long, long time. They've been absolutely notorious for doing this. Being a sailor, a merchant sailor today is a bloody nightmare. I could have ended up there myself. Maybe, the fact that I got kicked out of Royal Navy training is a good thing, because a lot of naval sailors go on to the merchant navy after their naval service, and I could have been in their situation too. And they treat merchant sailors like they. Stephen Molyneux did a really, really good interview with a merchant sea captain, and it was really, really, really enlightening about the lives of merchant sailors. See, I mean, I love anything to do with the ships and the sea. I love, and I'm very interested in it. The fact they go out, sometimes they're like 13 months at sea, they don't have any leave. There's the accidents that happen, the suicide, sailors jumping overboard. Oh, it's a fucking nightmare. And this piece of shit guy has just made 800 people just so he can employ casuals on less money. People incidentally, who don't have the expertise and experience of the people who've just been kicked out. As a result, if you go to sea on a P&O ship and it sinks to the bottom and you go with it, it may be because of human error caused by, through no fault of their own, inexperienced and non-committed and unloyal agency workers. Surely this breaches maritime safety regulations. All right, John, I'm not going to carry on ranting, but it's disgusting. It's despicable. Right, social media hospital porter reacts. 69 Phuket says, sneaky, under the radar, I missed. Did you not get your notification, Phuket? Because, a lot of people have complained about that. Maybe it's part of the shadow banning. David Charlotte says, hi. David Charlotte is a hospital porter. Pride and dignity, Brother Porter. Thank you for joining me today. Social media hospital porter reacts. Bernie Tucker. Good evening, Ben. Keep up the good work. Thanks. You're very welcome, Bernie. Thank you. Oh, we've got a thread here on social media reacts. Jamnoy72 says, bro, I really appreciate this and you. Thanks, soul brother. You're very welcome, soul sister. I do recommend your channel, yeah. And Charles says, Majid is awesome. He is, isn't he? Yeah. Jamnoy says, yeah, he's just like Ben. Awesome. That's a compliment indeed, both for me and for Majid. Yeah, Majid Nawaz. He's started his. He's done live streams now on Getter. Majid Nawaz. Charles says Ben is 3 times the man Majid is, quite literally. I'm sure I am across the girth. And Chat Jam Noise. How do you so mean? How dare you, Charles? Charles says, I am, of course, talking about his intellectual might and superior debating skills. What are you talking about? Thanks, guys. Thank you both. Jamnosh just says, "Oh my God, the Crime Stoppers call." Oh yeah, that's the best part of that Bilderberg Fringe thing, wasn't it? When we called Crime Stoppers, that was cool. And we have now social media hospital report reacts. Marley Pumpkin, you are not a hospital porter. You work for MI5. Yet another worthless video to distract your acolytes from reality. Oh, what's the end? Okay, I will have to go a bit over actually because I had a little bit of an interruption. Your acolytes from reality. I'll go about 3 minutes. Boring now, says David Splendid Isolation. Yeah, Marley Pumpkin is obviously another Richard D. Hall puppet. Yeah. Heat boring. Marky says, why so? Who's paranoid? Yeah. David Smith says to Splendid Isolation, I find it all quite exciting. I'd like to see what gadgets Ben has at his disposal. Perhaps his hat is concealing a large blade of some kind, or an umbrella that he uses to jab his foes in the eyes. You won't mention the name of the fellow he gets such gadgets from. Oh yeah, I don't underestimate. I'm like that. What is it? Colin Firth in that film where he has that bulletproof umbrella. What's that film called? I watched like a clip from it the other day. So cool. Charles says to Craft. Oh, Crafty Nihilist. Oh, right, I can't read the first comment. And where have you been all this time, young lady? Larking about with your fancy man, I shouldn't wonder. Oh, Crafty Nice, it's good to see you back. I'm glad to see your channel is restored. Crafty says, have you turned into a 1950s mother? I think Charles always was a 1950s mother, wasn't he? Charles says, no good will come of it, my girl, hanging around with these bad uns. You'll have a baby by the end of the week, and we'll have to go into a convent. Shafty says, at my age, it's not right. Crafty says also under here, take a pill, daddy go. Don't be such a square. Street parties. David Niven. Oh, I like David Niven. But it's great to see you back, Crafty. It really, really is. Okay, that's the end of our number 2. Let's continue. It's going to be more than 2 hours then, despite this being a 2-weeker. Okay, hour number 3. So we're actually... it's now 6 days, 5 days. We're actually getting close to the end of the YouTube comments, and we'll then go on to alt text. So I think this is definitely going to be the last hour. Hugo Roon says on social media, Hospital Porter reacts. Yes, must get Skype again. Yeah, I've emailed you about that, Hugo. Do just get in touch about that. Charles says on the same video, impossible question time. Oh my God, strap myself in. Would you rather be a hospital porter or proud and dignified? That's like saying, would you rather be a king or would you rather be royal? I mean, the two go together, Charles. You can't be one without the other, and they don't operate independently. Social media hospital report reacts. Charles says, no, Ben, the reason Putin went after Ukraine is because it's the corridor to invade the rest of Europe. The reason he did it now is because his experienced military population is aging itself out of existence, and those skills aren't being replaced. A few more years and he won't be able to do it. I don't think that's the case, Charles. I mean, we could talk about that perhaps more on if you can go through the videos I made about this, and because I do present specific reasons why I think that's not the case. However, I could be wrong. Several people have pointed out that Putin generally regards NATO as divided. It doesn't have a single leadership. It's also very weak. The West generally is very weak politically. And let's face it, look at Joe Biden. Look at the state of him. Look at Boris Johnson and his parties. I mean, the corruption, the weakness is everywhere. And maybe he thinks, probably rightly, that the West doesn't have what it takes to take him on. And like I said, if he knows his military is actually is going to decline in the future, he projects a decline in skills and abilities, then yeah, maybe that's why he wanted to do it. However, it's something that I'm not sure about. I think not. I think it's unlikely for reasons I've explained, but I could be wrong. Let's discuss it. I've got a very long comment here on a really old video. I'm just going to cut and paste this actually, because I'm getting a bit of eye strain. So let's just cut and paste it into here. There we go. I must remember. Don't forget, Ben. Go back to the. Right, here we go. Just put that in there, and I'll now increase the size of the text. This is from Stoic Libertarian on something called Nothing Works Anymore, a really old video. I'll actually get the thing back now. I'll get the tag back now before I forget. You're absolutely right, and to be calling it back in 2012 is impressive. Oh, I wish I wasn't Stoic. I really wasn't. To be fair, I was probably too young to understand the situation then, but since then I'd say I've become a bit of an expert on the subject. I could put this down to not only having worked in the council arts for 12 years, but also being a polymath with many skills, who likes to do and make things really well. The significance of working in the council arts will make sense when I get round to it, if not already, mainly as what many of us are picking up when we discuss matters along the lines of nothing works anymore. Remember the good old days, is another quote, etc., are matters associated with a movement which I refer to as anti-individualism, but what most probably is known as woke culture or postmodernism. Oh God, I know about that, Stoic, yeah. Woke culture, postmodernism, Marxism, socialism, communism, leftism, etc., are all schools of thought which share one thing in common: a mutual disdain for individual autonomy and private property, or capitalism. The primary argument for either school are all the same, essentially a critique of modernity, classical liberal Enlightenment values, the idea that one person should not be allowed to control and own something, like land or a means of production, a business. Since the early 20th century, society in the West has gradually moved away from the idea that one individual should be multi-skilled, independent and free to trade autonomously. The founding idea behind public sector organisations like the council I work for, unions and co-ops to name a few. Organisations which demand consensus, demands decisions via communities of representatives who are paid irrespective of performance. God, I know about that. Payment irrespective of performance. That is the number one problem in the NHS, I would say. The public sector relies on the private sector, and it relies on the majority of people to think it's a good idea for it to continue. Therefore, the public sector encourages different values to the private sector, mainly not to compete and not to acknowledge the talents and achievements traditionally thought of as great, especially concerning the achievements of one individual, as it makes a case for independence and less state intervention through taxation. Equity and relativism, which thrive in the arts industry, are pillars of the public sector. A proud rejection of objectivity, at least that's what they say, when in reality it's simply an excuse to deny any reasonable claim made by anyone against them, including claims around whether or not they perform well. I've seen these ideas promoted by people who do not consider themselves to be politically aware too, and I've seen them to be adopted largely through acts of peer pressure. In a world where we actively devalue and undermine individual achievements, and rather than encouraging a you can do it attitude, we encourage pass the buck attitude. I suspected things would not go well, and I'm shocked at how bad things really are going. I could talk endlessly about it. Stephen Hicks does a great job of speaking about postmodernism and the long march through the institutions. Oh, Stephen Hicks, I've heard the name, I'll have to look him up. But basically, all the relatively skillless people who studied business admin and social studies are now running nearly everything. And all the people who know how to do amazing things like build engines are either impeded by law, the public sector, homelessness, working on a waste tip, or in jail. Any surprises there? Sadly, none at all, Stoic Libertarian. None at all. You working for the council, your experience sounds to be very, very similar to my experience working in the NHS. Both are state bureaucracies. One is local government, the other is national government, but the effect is still the same. The idea that payment, regardless of performance, essentially creates a world where everyone is valued the same, no matter what they do, how good they are. This essentially means the art of living within that system is to be as incompetent and lazy as you can get away with. I don't know if you probably are, judging by your opinions. You're probably familiar with Ayn Rand. There's a scene in the novel Atlas Shrugged where Dagny, the heroine, comes across an old man who's stowed away on her train, and she sits him down, has a meal with him, and he talks about this motor company he worked for. It turns out John Galt worked for the same company, and he describes how they brought in basically each according to his ability, from each according to his ability to each according to his needs, and everyone just stopped trying. They stopped because people who excel then just get exploited, because their needs are the same as everyone else's, so therefore they don't. There's no return on the investment for their labour. I mean, I too could talk forever about this, but I'm a libertarian too. I used to be, I say I used to be a socialist. I was for about a year when I was a kid, probably less than that hardcore. By a kid, I mean like 18 when I started in the NHS. I saw through it very quickly, actually, I'm pleased to say. And the result is a degeneration. This ties in completely with what I was talking about, Stoic Libertarian, about on the video where someone was talking about P&O. P&O they're a private company, but they are subsidised up to the hilt by the state, just like a lot of these shipping lines are, like Caledonian McBrain, and this is partly state-owned. They run because they work on sort of like cross-channel things like that. Not only that, but they have effectively a monopoly because of state tendering. Because just like these tin pot companies used to who take over the NHS, like Mediclean and Carillion and Mighty, these deals contain none of the advantages of either the public or the private sector, but all the disadvantages. They don't have to compete because they have a monopoly. The monopoly is dictated by state contracts. So if they wanted to kick some old sailors, 800 elderly, experienced sailors who've served at sea for all that time and could train another generation of expert sailors and kick them out in exchange for, a couple of, 800 Polish and Romanian refugees who just... No offence to the Polish and Romanians. I've got lots of my brother porters are Polish and Romanian, who just have come straight over on a coach and know nothing because it's cheap. It's a fast buck. Because there's so much corruption. I've seen the corruption myself in terms of quality control, in terms of monitoring. There could well be an accident as a result of this. There could well be a really serious accident. A ship could catch fire. A ship could even sink as a result of this, and passengers could get killed, and other crew members could get killed. Oh dear. Anyway, that's we're both ranting now, Stoic Libertarian. Thank you very much for that excellent comment. I'm going to give you a love heart for that. Social media hospital porter reacts. Kerry Woolley says there's nothing social about social media. Kerry, that is a fridge magnet special. It really is. Thank you. Kerry also says Conspiracy by Gangstar, worth a listen, Ben. All right, I'll check that out, Kerry. Conspiracy by Gangstar. Stephen, I must remember Stephen Hicks. Anyway, here we go. Stephen Hicks. I think Molyneux's mentioned him. All right, Stephen Hicks. All right, yeah, Canadian-American philosopher. Okay. Lauren Thompson says on social media, once a hospital porter, always a hospital porter. Absolutely, Lauren. You tell that. You hear that, Marley Pumpkin? Social media. Benji84 says, R.I.P. Jordan Maxwell. What a legend. His work on admiralty law is mind-blowing. Hope he enjoys his journey on the other side. Yeah, I'm sure he will, Benji. I hope to see him again one day. Same video, Marky Boy. Social media, nah, just comment here. But I keep well clear of it. Other than Tinder, which is useful. Tinder's full of bloody gold diggers. I don't know a single bloke who's met had a decent relationship from someone he meets on Tinder. Marky Boy says social media. Lotus Eaters is very good. It is, yeah, oh God, I love it. Yeah. One of my crew who is 50% red pilled. Put me onto their channel. Still on YouTube at present. One of my regular listeners listens along with Rise Above. Rise Above. Dark Journalist. Yeah, Dark Journalist I like, yeah. Richie Allen. Yeah, I should have... There's lots of people I could have mentioned and didn't because there's just too many. But Richie Allen, Dark Journalist, they're very good. And, of course, your excellent podcast, Ben. Oh, thank you, Mark. You're getting a love heart for that. I'm glad I'm included. Alongside such greats as the Dark Journalist and Richie Allen. I sometimes get Dark Journalist mixed up with the Black Vault, which I mustn't. That does come up in the recent live stream. Mark Windows on the World, yeah, is another no-nonsense channel. Oh, and Gerald Salente, yes. Gerald Salente used to be on... he was on Coast to Coast, yeah. Very, very good guy. Snarnock, Social Media Reacts. I hope Richard Dolan manages to get on Joe Rogan's podcast. Graham Hancock said a large amount of his followers discovered him through Rogan. The same increase would happen with Richard Dolan. I don't know why he hasn't been on there already. I mean, he sounds to me like the perfect guest for Joe Rogan. I mean, Joe Rogan, he's had on Bob Lazar, for goodness sake. He's had on other ufologists. Seriously, I mean, he had, he had, what's her name, who wrote the book about Area 51? And, yeah, that's her bloody name. Book. Oh, I hate when I can't remember names. Book. I just read the bloody book last year about Area 51. Oh, books on Area 51. Area 51 Uncensored. Annie Jacobson. I can't remember. Annie bloody Jacobson. Yeah, Annie Jacobson. He's had her. Joe Rogan did a really good interview with her. Jeff Sperry says on social media. Channels I watch and recommend. UK Column, yeah. The Duran. Godfrey Bloom, yeah. I like Godfrey Bloom is cool. He's so cool. He just doesn't give a damn. He just says what he thinks. He doesn't give a damn. He's great. To name, but a few channels that trigger me. Novara Media, GB News, Sky News Australia. All right. Well, GB News is one I recommended. Novara Media is actually one of my hate watches. I do watch it. I think it's it drives me crazy. It drives me nuts. But I mean, I can't bloody stand that bird. What's her name? Oh, Novara Media. Because she's again, I can't stand it when I can't think of names. But she's this horrible young girl who's on there all the time. And who actually saw me in London, and she gave me a dirty look in London when I was there with my Trump hat. And it's not opening. Okay. There we go. Novara Media. But I watch their YouTube channel a lot. Emlyn-Jones has always gone on about her. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What's her name? But she's an young Asian woman who is really annoying, who gave me a dirty look in London, and whose name I will think of in a minute. Gary Robinson said, pretty sure this didn't come up in my feed, Ben. Oh, not again, Gary. Thought I'd check your channel to make sure it had not gone the same way as Mark Devlin, who's been kicked off YouTube. Pride and Dignity, brother. Pride and Dignity, Gary. Honestly, yeah, he did lose a channel. He's got a second channel, luckily. I've got a second channel too, which it's only there as a kind of provisional place to go to if this main channel does go down. I have already got a community guideline strike. For nothing, for a completely harmless video, is my Trump and Boris video. It got a community, it got like a bullying and harassment strike. I can't believe it. So yeah, but if ever I disappear, Gary, you can find me. I've got my alternative YouTube channel, and I've also got I'm on BitChute, Odyssey, Brighteon. I'm on all of them. Getter, Minds, Gab. You can't put all your eggs in the YouTube basket now. I know that, and there's a lot of people actually who still do that, and I think they need to consider branching out. Snarnox says, I follow Niall's YouTube channel. Niall Murphy. Yeah, he does. He's cool. He's made some great videos about the current global situation. However, he seems to have a massive chip on his shoulder regarding people who went to university. He's kind of an old-fashioned. He's the guy who probably started off as an old-fashioned leftist when he was younger, and then became what he is now, which is kind of a more kind of libertarian centrist, interested in spiritual matters, psychedelics, etc. But maybe there's I don't know if there's a slight, lingering residue of inverted snobbery about him. I don't know. It could be simply because people who go to university often seem to have a chip on their shoulder at people who don't, and look down their nose at them. He seems to think that they are all the same. Niall did not go to uni. Yet Thomas Barden-Rees and his panel guests, Nick and Simon, are Red Pill graduates. I'm Red Pilled and I went to university. And I personally know other graduates who are Red Pilled. I'm sure you know some personally too. Yes, I do. Including Thomas, who of course has a mathematics PhD. And a lot of the people he talks to are clearly quite well educated. And Nick Unwashed to me sounds quite well educated. I don't know much about his background, but he has quite a middle class voice. Yeah, he's red pilled as hell. He's really very wise and very he's very with it, is Nick? Yeah, and he's come into this quite recently too. Simon, which one's Simon? I don't know if I've ever been on with Simon. But then there's that lady as well, the Canadian lady, whose name I can't remember. Ash Sarkar is the name of the annoying Novara Media woman, or girl. She's only a year older than my daughter. And yeah, she's my hate watch. She's Novara Media, especially her, my YouTube hate watch. The others are annoying, but they're not as bad as her. So yes, no, look, I agree. Look, I don't know if you're being fair to Niall. Niall may want to comment. I'll have to ask. I personally, I think because I left the left literally very soon after I got into it at a very young age. I don't want to boast, but I think I saw through it very quickly. I never got into this kind of working class paranoia regarding rich people or university graduates. I never got this kind of inferiority complex that so many of my fellow working class people have. And it's a horrible thing to have, actually. I've known people who like that, who are resentful and bitter. A lot of them become shop stewards, by the way, at the hospital. It's no way to live. It's a very, very unpleasant way to live. Social media. Snarnock says, Jimmy from Bright Insight has an amazing channel regarding his own unique discoveries in forbidden archaeology. Gareth mentioned that he followed his YouTube channel. I managed to tell him that. I did as well during one of his live streams in the chat box. Jimmy from Bright. I don't know him, Gareth. I mean, Gareth, it's so long ago I did a show with Gareth, of course, for obvious reasons that I've kind of, yeah. I've kind of like, but I like that sort of thing, so I'll check that channel out as well. Now we come on to the They Live Watch Party introduction. With the first part of this trilogy, and as I explained at the beginning, I'm not in a position to carry that on just yet, and won't be till next week, and I must apologise. Yeah, Jimmy from Bright. Now this is something that I can't remember this, but Gareth did. It's like so long ago for obvious reasons. It's been a long time since I've done a show with Gareth, but it sort of rings a bell, vaguely. But thanks, I'll check that out because I like that kind of subject. Rick Horden says, outside the limit of our sight, feeding off us, perched on top of the birth, from birth to death, are our owners. And I think that's on They Live Watch Party introduction, and that's a quote from that guy who's on the TV, you know, the hacker who hacks into the TV signal to alert people. And of course, there's the guy watching saying, "Oh, not him again," when of course that guy is actually working for the other side. He gets recruited, doesn't he? And thinks when he goes to the underground base, if you remember. Same video, Armand Adams says, "That's a show I'd love to take part in, Ben. What a great film to watch along, and I'm all out of gum." That's a great film to watch along, and I'm all out of gum. Yeah, gum. Yeah. Yes, please, Armand. Thank you. I'd love you to join us. I'd love you to join us on the watch party. Caroline McGreal says, "I believe Carpenter knew the behind-the-scenes truth of this fallen world, and he won. Either use this film to warn us who's really running things, or two, use the film as a part of truth in plain sight but obfuscated, as the hidden hand rules of this fallen world wrongly believe by show the truth in plain sight, then they will free them of any bad karma, thereby passing it on to the people of the world for believing in their lies. Check out The Serpent Seed Bloodline by Dr. Joy Pugh. I will. I'll check that out, Caroline. Mark Passio talks an awful lot about this, and he has some very interesting takes on the belief system of the Illuminati and about how they behave, how they believe that by giving us clues to what they're about to do, they somehow, it becomes our fault. It's typical of the social Darwinist attitude that they have, and indeed that idea they seem to have seeped into the rest of the human people. It's rather like that line from Carlos Castaneda, they gave us their minds, and indeed they did. Thanks for a good comment there. Marino Delfino. I've been researching They Live for almost 10 years. You're all invited to check it out. I'll check your channel out here. Oh, I already subbed to you, Marino, and yeah, your channel is very interesting. I won't go into detail now because we were going to cover that on the review and the live stream, but yeah, I must have subbed to you a long time ago, actually, because it's just the sort of thing I would have subbed to like years ago. Yeah, very much so. Thanks. We'll definitely, and please do take part in the live stream. Marley Pumpkin says, oh, another film review. Not exactly fighting the New World Order, Mr. MI5. Well, Marley, I actually think that film reviews like this are very important to fighting the New World Order, because I am not Mr. MI5. You know, They Live is a very, very important film. It's like Wag the Dog. When Wag the Dog started trending on Twitter, you cannot for one moment think that that's talking about that film is not fighting the New World Order. It is. And I hope They Live will trend as well. It really will. I mean, goodness me. I mean, yeah, Big Trouble. They Live. Wag the Dog trending. I mean, it's unbelievable. With the war in Ukraine and everything. And as we've exposed, you know, they're using clips from Call of Duty and passing them off as news footage of battles. No wonder it's trending. It's a good sign it's trending. Same video, Kerry Woolley. Don't forget Big Trouble in Little China. How could I forget that, Kerry? That's a kind of martial arts film. It's a kind of comedy, madcap comedy, but very interesting indeed. Kurt Russell, young Kurt Russell, is very good in that. That's a great fantasy by John Carpenter, yeah. I love that film. Kerry Woolley. They Live equals documentary. Bloody hell, doesn't it just? Lemsip said, I know someone who is obsessed with They Live. Yeah, and the messages, but can't stop spending money online. It's like an alcoholic pushing temperance or a cannabis addict pushing reefer madness. He also touts zombie movies, even though he knows I don't like them because of the important messages in them that I can find elsewhere. It's not a joke about the fat Lemsip about the diet book with a fat man on the cover. Yeah. As for the zombie movies, though, the zombie movies, I mean, you've been watching my channel long enough, you probably have seen my zombie videos. And you know that I do like zombie movies for the messages within them. And I know you can find them elsewhere, but films like this are a good way of communicating information. A very, very good way of communicating information, which is why I like them so much. Mark Porritt says on the same video, good film, this one. I found a pair of sunglasses lying on a grass verge a few years ago. Nice pair, and I always wore them on sunny days. A few weeks after my lucky find, Magenta Devine died. Her trademark look was sunglasses. Poor Magenta. Sorry, poor Magenta. Yeah, Mark, maybe you actually found her pair. No. So, Classic Cars of Harrogate spotted. Great name, that. They Live watch party. A Boy and His Dog, 1975, set after the mud flood rest. A great film as well. A Boy and His Dog, I don't know that. But as for the mud flood thing, I'm very interested in that, actually. Now, a lot of the mud flood people are flat earthers, and I'm not. But the evidence they present with the mud flood thing is really, really compelling. Especially the old buildings with the things in them, you know, that can't be explained. Classic Cars of Harrogate spotted says again, Carpenter's People Under the Stairs, a film telling you about cannibals in the modern day. Oh, I saw that. Yeah, that's actually, I think that's not Carpenter. I think that's, is that Sam Raimi? I think it is. But, yeah, apologies. No, it's not Sam Raimi. It's Wes Craven, but that's quite similar, isn't it? But it is Carpenter-esque, I suppose. But that's pretty good, that. It's funny and it's quite scary and everything. Jeff Sperry says on MH370 livestream, absolutely brilliant video, Ben. Thanks, Jeff. Much appreciated. Alex Ritchie, Roseanne was my go-to, of course. They canned it because Roseanne Barr is one of us now, at least. And he also provided another comment, a YouTube link to her channel, which I've subscribed to. Roseanne Barr, honestly, if she's not married, I'm proposing right now. I'm down on one knee. Roseanne, will you marry me? She is a heroine. She had everything the mainstream could offer. And she did exactly what David Icke did. She put what was true and what was right before all of that. And I think it all started quite a while ago. She was in a debate with these other women once and mentioned the 9/11 truth thing and got slated for it. I think that was a big red pill moment for her. Since then, she's completely dropped out of the mainstream. She won't get any movie deals. All her comedy shows have been cancelled. All her talk shows have been cancelled. She now makes YouTube videos like we do, and she's obviously she is not as well off, and she doesn't have the respect she used to. She's going through the same thing as David Icke. But you know what? She cares about what's right more than anything else, and I am so proud of her. I respect her so much. I really do. She's wonderful, and what's this? Oh, this is this is Alex has also provided a link here on TV. This is TV programs a hospital portal react. Sorry, all these comments I should mention. Oh, it's Gone to Seed. Gone to Seed is currently on YouTube. It pops up every so often, and it usually lasts a couple of months and it gets deleted. This particular one is actually quite a poor quality copy. It's the visuals is not very good. It's a bit fuzzy. But I've got the DVD, obviously, and I think it's on BritBox. I have to check. It should be. But, it's divine. It is heavenly. It's the best thing I've ever seen on TV. Alex Ritchie says on TV programmes, Jim Broadbent, a national treasure, if there is such a thing. Oh, he's great, isn't he? Yeah. He's really, really great. Okay, TV programmes. Don't you think it's funny that Emmerdale now has a stroke sufferer in the story, and that's one of the favourites? I tried to point out this coincidence out to the unwoke other half and how criminal it is, but she doesn't get it, of course. Oh, well, I'm glad you're still together, Alex. I mean, it's frustrating when your partner doesn't get it. And I can't stand the subliminal alien pushing TV. Something is in the pipeline, for sure. Apparently, the fake alien attack has been postponed till the end of 2024. We shall see. Fucking Nazis. Well, Alex, the alien thing keeps coming up every now and again. It's just hints being dropped. And I think the more desperate the deep state gets, the more likely it is it will pull this off. I mean, there was this big emergency stop on the C word. Now we've got war. I think part of the reason for them goading Putin into war was basically to bury the C word so people didn't remember how it stopped so suddenly. And how they're saying you can have 6 Ukrainians in your house, but you couldn't have your grandmother there 6 months ago. And things like that. But, of course, it's all being used as well. It's being used to generate food shortages, as I said. Okay, we have Masumi Hanstar. This is an old one. Chief Seattle's Letter. Oh, this was from, blimey. This is 2009, I believe. I am watching this video now. It was released 13 years ago, when I hadn't even been born. I am now 12. Oh, Masumi. Wow. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate that. There's an awful lot on my channel that goes back before you were born as well. It seems like it doesn't seem that long ago. It's weird. I don't know how time's flying for you as a 12-year-old compared to how it goes for us, because we oldies, I think, we oldies. Well, I say oldie. I'm not that old, but people of all generations appear to be perceiving this speeding up of time, this quickening. But, yeah. Well, thank you for watching, Masumi. Thank you very much. And, yeah, great. Well done. Well done. Hope you enjoyed that video. Masumi. That's going back ancient. That's ancient history, that is, mate. I'll tell you what. That I remember making it, and I remember it's... that was quite early in HPANWO TV. Yeah, you've got a lot to catch up on, mate. You'll find a lot of material there. It was from before you were born, but... I do hope you enjoy it. Thanks for posting. Oh, here we go. Here we go. MH370. We have Richard D. Hall. No, we don't. We have Lesbian. If you needed any more proof that Ben... on the screen. Notice how the debt collectors never did call in the phone bill. I'm guessing your MI5 handler had a word with them then, eh, Ben? Well, to be honest, Les, my handler paid it all off. Probably would have got a big salary if it was mine. I'm hoping I'll become happy at some point, in which case I'll be able to pay it. Anyway, time for some better. Charles from Project Camelot. Another trophy for the shelf, yes! Don't mess with Charles, he knows these things first. Even if he don't get notifications from YouTube, his super soldier psychic powers will find out when Ben's going to be uploading. Crafty Nice says, Charles, for fuck's sake, say something! Oh, I keep saying something all the way through this, don't I? But he won't know, Crafty, you see. Because he knows what's behind those black squares on that document. Because he has seen the original. David Schultz says on UAPTF, an interesting UFO eyewitness report as follows. Oh, by the way, David, thanks for taking part in the live chat. I really appreciate you. It must be early in the day for you. Thank you. Quote, to my utter astonishment, I saw an... All right. Where did he live? Because that sounds, the fact he uses the term airship indicates he's at least from the 19th century. But I know, was he a president or something? Oh no, he's much earlier. 1755. He was 1755 to 1804. Founding father of the U.S. Constitution of the United States. Yeah. He was actually was he president too? Yeah. No, he was under the first president, George Washington. Yeah. That's interesting, wasn't it? Yeah. Here he is. Here's a picture of him. Looks very prim and proper there. So this guy saw a UFO. And he uses the term airship. Now, again, I was saying he's from the 18th century, but using that term means he was not from the modern era. But you know, David, I appreciate that. I really do. Because, just read, to my utter astonishment, I saw an airship descending over my cow lot, occupied by 6 of the strangest beings I ever saw, jabbering together, couldn't understand a word they said. Now, this is a report that could have been made today, although they would have used different language. They said, I saw a UFO descending, occupied by 6 of the strangest aliens I ever saw. They'd use different language, but they'd be describing the same thing. Now, this should make people think again if they claim that UFOs are simply a product of an overactive imagination post the emergence of 1940s science fiction films. Thanks very much, David. And we have Diego Rivera on UAPTF declassification. Most of it was redacted, so still remains top secret. So keep your eyes peeled and tap your nose. Yes. I will be watching this story, probably doing another one. Yeah, I'm doing a follow-up. Friday the 13th Man. This is Liam Nicklin. Friday the 13th Man. Wish I could have been there for you against the bullies, Ben. Oh, Liam, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that, mate. I managed to handle them myself, but still, you know, definitely. TTT, Tommy Time Television. This is on, oh, Janet, flight to Area 51. Fast. Oh, shit. Just got to edit these bloody. You know what I've done? I forgot to put the tag back on my clipboard, didn't I? Silly me. Let me go back and edit comments. I got Alexander Hamilton on my clipboard. What are people going to think? It's only, thank goodness I spotted it after only 3 comments. And here we go. And then finally this one. Yeah, this is on Janet Flight to Area 51. Fast mover spotted. Oh, this is a really fun video to do. Bloody brilliant. Oh, I'll see. I haven't played Flight Sim for a while. But I do gaming streams on Twitch, and I upload them to my Alt-Tech. Mostly it's all dangerous waters so far. Marky Boy says on UAPTF to classification live stream. Apologies, Ben. It was Sunday night, but I had booked Monday off. Why didn't you know that? Haha. Sorry, Marky. I can't please everyone, unfortunately. There's always going to be somebody who can't make it. I had a great Monday night. Standing the flight line of a landing P-35 at Laken Heath. It was epic, but it gave me a migraine. I'll do it again. Well, not if it gives you a migraine, mate. By the way, I cannot work nights, as women and alcohol would be frowned upon at work. Yeah, I'm sure they would. As would listening and watching my live streams, Marky. Marky says on another comment on the same video, how can anybody believe what Elizondo says? I never thought the Navy video released like the gimbal was credible either. I bet they're explainable. It's all whitewash, I bet. I trust civilian footage and accounts more than official ones. Yes, there are loads of fakes, but in amongst it all are nuggets that make me wonder. Military all have an agenda, and most cannot think for themselves the results. Closed minds be. Marky, firstly, as for Elizondo, I'm getting a bit frustrated with him. He is getting a bit repetitive now, and I haven't listened to his last few interviews because he's just as Steve Mumbling says, he must either do a poo or get off the pot. But the Navy releases were credible, I believe. I don't think they're explainable. I know Mick West thinks otherwise. But as for civilian footage, yeah, I do. I mean, the kind of footage we're talking about here is coming from all over, many different sources. And know that they're not all fakes. There are many nuggets. As for the military having an agenda and being closed-minded, can't think for themselves. I think pre-2016 I would have agreed with you, but things have changed. In the post-2016 world, the military, I think, has become a very progressive force rather than an agent of the deep state. Certainly in the United States. Marky says again on the same video, I'm not sure, Ben. The double bluff makes sense if back engineering of an ET craft has been done, surely. Also, like life itself, things are seldom black and white, but multifaceted. Compartmentalization of military departments plays into this as well. Departments actively competing against each other. We have to shift through a... But the answer is in the mix somewhere. But school knocks this out of us, as it does most things. Just might. School does, which is why, Marky, I couldn't stand school. As for the situation with this rather fashionable idea that I talked about, that UFOs essentially are a piece of engineered neo-mythology designed to launder more down-to-earth secrets, it is a very fashionable idea. Even, as I said, even Richard D. Hall doesn't fit. It is quite likely to be a double bluff for reasons I explained in the live stream. Yes, there is compartmentalization in military departments and deep internal competition, but it doesn't explain what we're looking at now the way Mark Pilkington and others have it. Triple T says on Bill Gates and the North Pole Part 1. Oh, this is another flight simulator gaming stream or gaming video. Try landing on the M6. Oh, right. Apparently you can do that if there's no cars. There's a straight bit which is designed to be used in nuclear war. You know, it's straight because it's meant to be a backup runway. UAPTF Marky Boy. I loved UFO as a lad. That's the Jerry Anderson thing. Yeah. But the premise was very dark. Aliens harvesting us for body organs. I never knew this was as bad as It was all about the cool vehicles and explosions. It's interesting how much, yeah, it was a lot of the Jerry Anderson stuff, you see, was not designed for children. This is why when it's actually when it's marketed as children, a lot of parents said, well, they're a bit too extreme for children's programs, and I understand what they mean. I do sympathise. But yeah, UFO is actually pretty good. It's a pretty good series, and of course, since then, there's been some truth behind this idea of harvesting and things like that, which is why I think a lot of ufologists don't like looking at it, because it is such an uncomfortable idea. Triple T says on Janet Flight, UAV equals unmanned aerial vehicle or drone. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Janet Flight, Triple T says, looks like the B-2 stealth bomber. Oh, that's the fast mover. Yeah, it does a bit, doesn't it? I don't think it's actually meant to be alien. I think because you can actually see it in some aspects of the game, it does look like some kind of secret aircraft. Triple T says on Relative Madness, oh my goodness me, this is actually a mirror of a short documentary by Vika Evdokimenko, who's actually quite a well-known Russian filmmaker, who is now who made a little short video about me and my family. Everyone I know has 2 or more vices. They'll have to monitor and enforce rules on about 26 to 32 million homeowners. 2 or more vices. Well, I have a few. There's a drink and things like that, and good UFO videos, but I don't think they can monitor and enforce everyone, you see. I don't think they can. All right, that's YouTube done for now, although I'll do a refresh later on. Okay, right. Now, BitChute, as you know, is a little bit of a little bit of a bastard, because it doesn't give you notifications. This is something they definitely need to work on, but what I'll do is I can't go through every single upload on BitChute until they start providing notifications. You know, that's out of the question. All I can do is look at notifications published on videos that I uploaded since the last comments reply video. That's the best I can do. So we'll go to MH370. Open in a new... hang on. Open image. No, not open image in a new tab. What's this? A video. Open video. Oh, what's it? All right. All right, I'll just click it. No comments. Social media hospital portal reacts. No comments. Someone thumbed it down. Bastards. They live watch party introduction. No comments. I had loads of views, but no comments. UAPTF declassification live stream. 1 comment. Oh, thank you, thank you. One comment on BitChute this time. It's the ballonist says. Ben, just pause. Isn't it time you re-uploaded your NHS Zombies video? As I think we're about to experience zombies for real, thanks to this non-V word. I don't have to re-upload it to the ballonist. It's there. It's on my channel, on YouTube, BitChute, and Odyssey. I may put it on Rumble as well eventually, so do check that out. Okay, so that's BitChute done. Okay, Odyssey. Odyssey. Let's have a look. Okay, I've got some comments. I've got some comments in the notes, which, because the Odyssey does provide notices, but they're only there for 10 days, which means if someone posts something on an old live stream or an old video from before the last comments reply video, then I basically have to to make a record of it. So here we go then. Oh yeah, of course. Also, I've got the live stream notice. All right. First of all, I didn't answer the comments in the live stream notices, did I? Either for the UAPTF or from bloody or from the not from the UAPTF. That's right. I didn't do it today. David Splendid Isolation says, so this is from the UAPTF's live stream notice, which I deleted, of course, when the live stream went live. But I didn't answer the questions in the live stream like I'm supposed to. As a result, the comments were deleted when the video was deleted. However, I made a record of the comments first. David Splendid Isolation says, there's a Westall documentary piece on Blaze TV coming out this week. Oh, right. The Westall is still a very active case. The witnesses are still around. They're still talking. So I'd be interested to see that, David. I really would. Okay, so this is Diego Rivera saying here, top secret live stream, so top secret we can't talk about it. You said that, didn't you? You said that on the when we posted live, I remember. But the good thing is, Diego Rivera, you could talk about it. Something. Marley Pumpkin says here, more UFO childish nonsense to distract your acolytes. Not exactly fighting the New World Order, are you? Your bosses make sure of that, or they try. They try, Marley, but we disagree on strategy, you see. We within the New World Order, within the intelligence network, to try and keep the truth movement subdued. I personally believe that UFO childish nonsense actually does exactly what you say, which is why I talk about it. It's not relevant to the New World Order, is it? Charles from Project Camelot received one of the highest numbers of hearts from you. Oh, that's nice. And he says under here, Ben is the New World Order. Oh, charming. Oh, right, this is Christoph Mahler. Oh, what was this? This was Alt Tech. Now, this was Odyssey. However, it doesn't say what video it was. I didn't actually mention what video it was. But anyway, Christoph Mahler says here, this is a recorded Odyssey comment. The way the comment system seems to work, it looks as if I can't respond directly to your actual reply. In regard to the Trump administration, you've said, I think he deserves a chance to finish the job he started, unquote. I can't prove that Trump is in cahoots with the bureaucracy and their donors, but really every appointment he made actively undermined his campaign rhetoric, as is the case with virtually all UFO presidencies since Reagan, in my view. I simply don't believe that kind of trust into parliamentary system anymore to believe that champion of the peoples can be voted in. And in the case, if Trump were to run again and win for some reason, e.g. because they now want someone to rally against China, then I expect him to make the concrete walls around Israel higher and the mesh wire fence along the Mexican border more expensive patchwork. To name just one example of popular policy. Call me out on that if I turn out to be wrong. Okay. Well, as I say to Christoph, the comments, actually the comments reply system on Odyssey are by far the best on any Alt-Tech video site. But I do think Trump is different from the rest, Christoph, I do. And I've made videos on this subject. I talk about it in detail. Please feel free to watch them and comment, say what you like about that. I think Trump did what he did, or what he could with the resources he had. And he will be back, and it will be before 2024. And then we'll find out more about what goes on. Okay, I've got another comment on Nelson Mandela dies. This one's really popular. Someone called The End of Russia, ha 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 ha, says, anti-white commie shitlib, good riddance, have a nice time burning in hell. And I say quite correctly, I've changed my mind a lot since making this video, although I think that's a bit too hard on Mandela, but still he's not the angel he appears to be in the mainstream. And End of Russia says underneath, okay, fair enough, man. It's good some people can still change their minds. Seems it's become a rare trait. Have a good day. Have a good day to you too, End of Russia. So now we'll go to the actual YouTube, actual Odyssey, pardon me, and see what's been going on there. Okay, MH370. Okay then, MH370. No comments. Social media hospital portal reacts. No comments. They live watch party introduction. No comments. And finally, UAPTF declassification live stream. No comments. Okay, nothing on Odyssey at all apart from those historical comments. Oh, sorry, comments on historical videos. But anyway, let's go across to Rumble and see what's there. I had some great comments on Rumble the other day. They keep disappearing now. I mean, I should make records of them. I mean, the thing is, Rumble has notification systems, and it also has it also has a bit. It tends to be quite reliable, things like that. But the comments, I'll make a record of them next time. Anyway, so we'll just go to check out my content on there. MH370. No comments. Social media, hospital porter reacts. No comments. They live watch party introduction. No comments. UAPTF declassification live stream. No comments. Okay, so that means I've had no comments. Well, I've had one comment on all of Vault-Tec, and it was just a single one on BitChute. That's very unusual. I'll just do a quick. Okay, I'm going to go back to YouTube now and do a refresh of the channel comments and mentions, and health review. Now just refresh that. No, nothing. Okay, haven't responded to. Okay. And I'll just do the haven't responded to again. Oh, I haven't deleted those damn spam. No, I'll delete the spam later. Okay, I'm just going to go now and check the... let's go and check the notifications. And there's Darlington Trust podcast alert. See us. Well, I've had no comments at all. None. Okay, so that's the end of this particular reply to comments video number 56. And I want to say a big thank you to everyone, because it is literally self-explanatory that if it wasn't for you making comments, this video would not happen. And so I want to say a big thank you to every viewer who's taken the time to comment. There's been some really complimentary and really appreciative ones, some rather critical ones, and some downright rude ones. But, you know, even the rude ones are quite amusing because they're fun. I can have a good time and striking back at them, you know. So thank you for each and every one of these comments. It's been really, really good. So that's the end of this particular video. Now, as I said, there's going to be nothing from me till at least Tuesday. Because I'll be away at Weird Weekend North, but I am producing a video while I'm there. There will be a reportage, which I might actually not upload until after the second and third part of, certainly the second part of the They Live watch party. Because the second part, of course, is the review. And after the review, of course, comes the live stream. So I will certainly wait until after those. I think until I upload this one. But certainly after the review, I will upload, well, if I can edit it on time anyway, the Weird Weekend North. So that's good. I'll be off to Weird Weekend. I'm not speaking, so I can relax, have some fun. And my fun will be recorded for posterity. So I hope you guys have a good weekend as well as me. Thanks all for watching HPANWO TV. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order.